事了，
出事了，
团灭，
零换物。
这里有 A 仗，但是没有 BKB，用水来过渡时间。
大招 CD 的
3杀拿到 Godlike。
哎，这脚大招，
这脚大
还不错。但是美杜莎已经拿到了不朽之守护，魔爪拉到斧王之后成功杀死，再往前追击。大圣想摆大招吗？自己血量不太健康，还是把大招摆了出来。先动神，朝鲜人再被噩梦睡一下，救一下。正面硬刚美杜莎，这一发暴击大地伤害还是比较充足的。美杜莎已经被打得没蓝了，但是大圣血量也很不健康，
直接被美杜莎拼死了。
tear away my skin. See me from within. Waterborne, I'm rain, thunder, ocean born. You can't drown me. You can't drown me. I'm close to the moon and the Neptune. Paradise course line. There's a sunlight. Lay me by your side, sway me with your tide. We've got a tempest inside. Waterborne, rain, thunder, ocean born. Close to the moon and the Neptune.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the last official day here in the DPC Chinese Division Division 2. It doesn't feel like Division 2, Snare. It feels
No.
like Division 1. It feels crazy, and that's because it is. The teams are great, the majority of them, and we've got a 5-way tie for first. What more proof do you need?
Yep. I mean, we keep talking about this, the fact that China is by far the most competitive region. And it's one thing to simply have a lot of really stacked teams going head to head or teams that are very close in skill level. But it's another thing entirely where once you get down to the end of it, once you've gone through all the games themselves, you find an actual 5-way tie for first. I would be extremely surprised to find any other region finding themselves going into the last and final day with almost guaranteed tiebreakers being on the card between at least 3 teams, 5 teams having the similar scoreline right now, and of course, us having no idea which one of these teams is actually going to be able to make it over the finish line. You couldn't ask for a better way to round out not just the final day of lower division action, but also the final day of the week. Isn't this a great way to close things out for a Friday? There's some hype Dota, some hype teams. Yeah. I'm super excited. And I can imagine right now that no team on planet Earth has ever had more fans right now at this very moment than YBB. Everybody's like, YBB, please beat SHENZHEN. Because if they beat SHENZHEN, then it's a guaranteed situation where, then we have we have the tiebreakers if YBB wins. SHENZHEN has the most fans in the world, because if they win, then it's no tiebreakers. It's just clear victories for whoever else wins today, just one straight up game. But if YBB wins, which is likely because YBB is the team that's favored. And if you remember when we came on this qualifier journey, you know who came up first? It wasn't SHENZHEN that started the journey first. The team that really looked the strongest at the beginning was YBB. They had the better record in the qualifiers. They've had the better record in the league. However, upsets and surprises is what we've been happening all week here, Dragon Drop. So who knows what's actually going to happen here?
It is poetic to have this matchup decide what's going to happen. It's, as you said, 5 of the 6 teams today have a real shot at making it to Division 1 for the next season. SHENZHEN is not one of them, but they can throw over YBB. And if that isn't motivation enough for a Dota player, then I don't know what is. So, yeah. SHENZHEN wins, we're not gonna have tiebreakers. If YBB wins like they did before, like you mentioned, just starting in the open qualifier bracket, then we're gonna have something funky on our hands this weekend. We can return one last hurrah here in Division 2. But let's talk about the draft, because that's been going on pretty fast so far. OD Bane Tusk for SHENZHEN. So a lot of in your face, a lot of taking people out of the game for a little bit, between the OD, the Tusk Snowball, defensively, the Bane Nightmare. And YBB, a little bit more traditional here. Support Weaver, Ogre Magi, extra Bloodlust, Beastmaster attack speed, Lina also very fast.
Yeah,
that's a bit of a pushing lineup, and they can also buff up whatever carry they want to pick up with a bunch of extra attack speed.
It might actually be the case that they're just going to have Storm play carry, and they're like, listen, you've got this Lina right now. Look at how many buff ups we have for you. Just go all, don't even bother building BKB, fam. You know what? You can just go straight. I mean, probably still going to buy BKB, but actually you might not. You might decide against it with this bait in the game, but now the way they are setting up, they might even just go get themselves a much more straight up fighting carry for the safe lane so that Lu can just get in on the game. We've seen him play Wraith King before. These style of heroes that don't necessarily need to be able to farm for the whole game, but have the capability of doing so if needed. And one thing I like about how YBB have stacked up their draft right now is they have a very good mix of damage, right? Between the Beastmaster Lina, it's not just all physical damage, there's a lot of magical output as well. There's a lot of safety and security being given in the laning phase, thanks to the Weaver and the Ogre. So even if the 2 supports find themselves relatively underfarmed in this game, you're going to be able to set up for quite good games for the 2 cores. So Storm's going to have a very good game. Ironet's going to have a good game. But for SHENZHEN, we see them here. We've seen this kind of style of draft before where they either go, all in on the safety, pick Hara like on a Baden or something to make sure that he has the protection for Kaikyo, or they go all in the opposite direction and say, you know what? involve Kaikyo in all of these fights as soon as humanly possible. Get Drink some aggressive 4 position that goes in as well, that's prepared to sacrifice its life, as long as it forces a situation to happen where YBB have to fight us. So pick a hero that can get online a bit faster than normal. The PAs that we've been seeing of recent times, they still need at least 3 items, but because a lot of the PAs have been switching from Battle Fury to Maelstrom, the 3rd item of the Desolator/BKB comes a lot sooner, so she's a lot more suited to fight earlier on. So that seems to be the strategy here for SHENZHEN. But the last picks will make it a little bit more clear, because I just struggle to believe that they'd pick OD and PA and then want to play a reserve style of game, right? These guys want to go in.
Absolutely. So there's a number of different ways that you can do that. I mean, of course, we all used to seeing the OD mid, but Ice has actually been playing that in the offlane, I believe, and a few others as well. So there is some flexibility in that hero. And yeah, if you put him in the offlane, you have that kind of 3 position that offers a lot of extra secondary damage output. You know, it's kind of a semi-carry in that way, which lets you get away actually with. I can't believe this. I say this, but it makes you able to get away with something like a Void Spirit, something that's more utility focused. Yeah, that's exactly kind of the secret rant the other day that I watched. OD offlane. And then Void Spirit mid, and they actually ended up winning that game. And I was like, yeah, that's not because Void Spirit is doing a ton of damage, even though they were ahead, and it was looking a little bit easier. But it's also because OD is offering that extra bit of DPS to make sure that you can actually get kills with all of this control that the Void Spirit would offer. So it's not been banned out, still possibility. It's a bit of a rough matchup against Lina though, but that's true for most melee heroes. I wouldn't be too surprised to see them just go OD Lina matchup. That's fine enough for both of them. And then look for another offlaner as Terrorblade will be the carry. Pretty decent matchup against PA. You have a ton of armor just naturally against her. Not necessarily as much against OD. That's can be a bit tricky at times.
Yeah, and there is already BKB piercing disable. Now, though, this is intriguing and interesting. The Doxia comes out, and this is a interesting pick here for SHENZHEN, not just for the laning phase, but for how the later game goes as well. We've often seen these Terrorblade illusions turn around and destroy their entire teams. But this game, there's not just a Terrorblade to worry about. There's some very scary illusions coming out here, Drag and Drop. You get a Beastmaster illusion, suddenly your team is beefed up within a Beast Aura. There's this Lina in the field who, in this game, I'm expecting Storm to have a standout performance on this Lina. They don't have that much reach right now on the side of SHENZHEN, so getting to her on the backlines of the fight might not be as easy as they would like it to every single time. So if you ever get an illusion of her, she's presumably going to be quite high level in this game and going to be quite dangerous if you do get that illusion. And of course, they have now with this Beastmaster, or the Doxia last pick, the ability to put the Iron Shell on PA, more tank ability for her if she gets Aghanim Scepter. But the main thing is you have now a little bit of extra damage. Sometimes as PA, you jump in, you feel this hero's this close to dying. And now you have that little piece of extra damage for yourself. And a util builder, right? Somebody who can build the team, the Guardian Greaves, build them the Pipe of Insight. We haven't seen much pipes lately, but against the Lina, Shinji is the only source of magic damage. If you build a pipe and Guardian Greaves, suddenly you have sustain against the rest of the lineup, a way to protect yourself against this one big piece of physical burst. And PA or somebody else on the team can easily build like a Lotus Orb, AC, just some other kind of armor item to help out. And suddenly now you've mitigated a lot of the damage coming out of YBB and put yourself in a lot better position to be able to fight.
Yep. A little bit of extra damage, or maybe a lot of bit of extra damage at times as well, considering what we're talking about here. You know, we're talking about a Terrorblade illusion from the wall, plus perhaps an extra one with the normal punch that Doxia can get from his shard. You literally punch an illusion out of somebody. So yeah, I think this is a great last pick for a number of different reasons. We'll see if SHENZHEN can make it work, if they can make it interesting, if they can just deny YBB the chance at promotion and also deprive all of us of the tiebreakers, which would be a shame. So as much as we've been hyping up SHENZHEN, as much as we're fans of them, I kind of want them to lose this series. Not gonna lie, but they might be in first blood here. Rain, pretty damn tanky, but not tanky enough up against 5-man tag team. First blood being drawn.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Baited in and killed off. that's the way it goes sometimes, you know.
Yep. And SHENZHEN, because they smoked out for this movement and they got here first, they laid out their vision before YBB were able to. So not only do they get the first blood, they get the vision advantage middle. To the degree where INED forced to just commit this early ball, just to fly it around, they scout out Kaikyo and Hara. So they are aware of the fact of the two heroes they'll need to contest for this bounty, but YBB is certainly going to be unhappy with the start here. Although they might try to go for a kill. Is this not? Okay, they're just zoning them back for the bounty rune. I was hoping, but we don't get it happening. Everyone's just gonna go back their separate ways. Great slot for SHENZHEN, even trade on the bounties, and you know we've seen this Terrorblade versus Darkseer matchup in the past, right? And it's not like when you see Juggernaut versus Darkseer, where the Juggernaut doesn't really care. He's like, whatever, you know, I've got this healing ward going. Against Terrorblade, unless you're inside the meta, you do kind of have to watch how you position yourself in this particular lane. Because when Tusk gets a roll on you, once level 2, level 3 starts emerging, then suddenly it's roll, snowball, ice shots, tag team, as well as the iron shot. It's a lot of damage that Blue's going to have to worry about in this lane. Feels like it's going to be quite an oppressive time as these levels start to go in the way of SHENZHEN.
Yeah, this is not going to be super fun for them. As I said, once level 3 comes out, and even before that, Drink just straight up walks past, gets the courier, did deliver whatever items they had, but still. I feel like there's one thing the pro players are just not getting better at. Just microing couriers properly, you know? As they are pretty good at connecting waves and making things awkward though, so. Should be able to get rid of that range creep.
Alright, so an area of the map where I'm actually really scared, alright? This mid lane is going to be kind of boring. We did speak about it's going to be trading between the two of them. And I don't really expect much action to happen, but this bottom lane, I do expect something to happen. At some point, Hara, I think, is going to be in danger. Between Call of the Wild and these Swarm Bugs, and another courier is going to die here. Bye-bye. No orb of value for Kaikyo. That's actually a big deal, to lose that orb of value while it was flying in, whilst you don't have the opportunity to fully harass out this Beastmaster. So now he's perfectly still positioned in the lane. That extra minute of time is kind of a big deal. So, and you're going to be so close to Orb of Corrosion afterwards that you might want to wait until you finish the full item. So you're practically going most of this laning phase here early on without having the Orb of Value, and subsequently no ability to harass back INED at all in this bottom lane.
Yep. It's going to be quite rough. Certainly the kind of start that you want for your own offlane, knowing that you have to contend with the Darkseer. They're just gonna get stronger and stronger, and it's really impossible to zone out with these heroes. Keep an eye on that.
Well, even though we want them to lose here, Drag and Drop, our boys of SHENZHEN doing the thing, and here we go. That's what I was talking about. Swarm onto Hara. Is he gonna die? I think he's... No, he's fine. He's fine. He's fine. Has the magic stick, gets in behind the tower. He's going to be okay as well. Does pop the Salve too, but that does mean that they are going to be shy of Salve in this lane. They should probably ferry out an additional one, because that move from YBB is definitely going to come again when they have the chance.
Yep. Alright. Go ahead and switch to the clean feed for the moment, because I'm getting a lot of packet loss here. It's been very stable connections so far, for the most part here towards China, so... Yeah, we always had that backup of straight up clean feed for Chinese stream, always great.
Yep. Having fallback layers is always a requirement. I mean, redundancies in Dota is kind of why we also see that people over the years moved away from pure 4 protect 1 strats into situations where there's another hero that can soak up pressure and create a win condition for you. And both teams do have that. However, only one of these teams feels very good about both of those heroes. At the same time, I'm kind of surprised about this mid lane and exactly just how even it is. I thought by now that Storm would start pulling ahead a little bit. Once you hit level 4, it's a bit easier for you to farm out the small camp here on the side than it is for the OG, but so far, Ash is still doing a very good job middle. The banish plays are obviously working out. We haven't had any major misses on range creeps. So this laning phase, just in general, SHENZHEN actually doing better than expected, which, you know, again, every other team, Aster.Aries, Magma, Sparking Arrow Gaming, Extreme Gaming, they're like, woo, go SHENZHEN.
Who cares about the other teams right now? Not me. Walker is going down. His drink just the second time is good, right? At least
Yeah, that is the second time.
it's a bit awkward once again. He's hit that level 3. Didn't put the extra point in Snowball actually, which is a bit surprising. I guess if you can land the proper set of ice shots, and if you're already playing this close, this up far forward, might as well put the extra point in tag team. It's down bottom. This time around, maybe Shower though. Bugs on top. Rain's up to the latest a little bit, but no more stick, no more nothing.
Feels bad.
A little bit too far forward here, all the way on the wrong side of the lane.
A lot of aggression, and we were worried about that, right? That the moment they could do that again, they would. And they almost killed Kaikyo in the process as well. He's very low on the PA. They definitely need some additional regen down bottom. And it will come now as the Bane returns to the lane with another salve, but does mean that SHENZHEN have committed a lot of their net worth that they've gained in the bottom lane just to be able to stay alive within it. Erstwhile for YBB, you see Ironhead is doing what we keep talking about here, buying that super value Helm of Iron Ore, keeping himself alive as a result of it, and now has permanent sustain effectively on this side of the map, never has to worry about anything. And this really does simplify life in the large part here for the side of YBB, because they can start moving this Bane else, or not the Bane, excuse me, start moving the support Weaver elsewhere. I think 928 almost has earned a shadow, so it can start putting in cameo appearances towards the top lane. It is past 6 minutes now, so Storm is starting to think about what rune do I want to pick up to start rotating on the map. Laguna Blade is at the ready, and either supports come towards him, but they actually might be coming to kill him. Hara trying to set up here, but 928's already back. They replenish the bottle. It's too late. He's fine.
Yeah. Playing very defensively here, but they've also got a very aggressive wall here from the Radiant side behind us with the cow. You don't often see it this early. But this scouted out, this rotation from 9 to 8, which is not necessarily something to be aggressive themselves, but just one to fill up the bottle, make sure that Storm is fine, and yeah, inadvertently getting the extra security as a top seed. It's not really supposed to happen, is it?
No. Both offlaners are in trouble though, because Beastmaster barely
He's so
TP's
fine
out.
right now. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I should have known better.
Yeah, he's got a Helm of Iron Will.
and a
It's
crown,
actually impossible to kill him, you know? Actually impossible.
And that they try to exploit the timing. They're like, okay, look, 9 to 8 isn't here. He's actually middle. They're gonna kill Ash here. They roll in. They bring Rain along. Fire Blast already been thrown out. Storm eats the sanities, but throws back to Laguna to return the favor. Laguna, though, effective first. They get that kill. 9 to 8 almost ran down Drink, but Hara, beautiful nightmare to prevent him from getting too far forward. Rain shows up with the Fire Blast, opening up space so they can escape from Hara. Will anybody fall low enough for level 2 Brain Sap to take effect? It doesn't look like it. And they both scurry away. Hilarious trade in the mid lane, both ultimates given away, but YBB will be the beneficiaries of that because they get bonus experience onto their Lina in exchange for that gold as well.
Yeah. We know he still got apparently, what, 1300 gold according to the fight recap in total? Which is kind of crazy, but yeah. It was really interesting how that one worked out. Storm ticked out to the Meteor Hammer. I believe with the last take after the Saren's Eclipse did just enough damage to set it up. So not often that you see things go down that way, but Seed up top again. This time he's the one getting the kills though, all alone. Will be traded out by 928, who will in turn be traded out. Double kill for Seed as the Iron Shoulder is still going on the Storm Terrorblade illusion here. Wall of Replica already coming in a big.
The wall, they catch him in the one moment where Drink isn't nearby to throw out the immediate snowball save, and he's practically soloed by the two heroes, and that's a huge kill going out onto the Terrorblade. Sure, they end up losing the Doxia because of this, but you know, Doxia also gets revenge onto 928. It's a Tusk brother gets revenge for his Doxia by taking out 928, and this TB gonna be definitely isolated back into the jungle. And he was top net worth just before he died, so at the very least still making very good progress towards his items. But SHENZHEN will certainly be feeling themselves now that they have complete access to that top side of the map. They're still farming decently well on Kaikyo as well. This PA, despite Ironhead not being zoned out of this bottom lane, since 9 to 8 left, they've been doing a marvelous job of making sure that he has no progression. And Rain Sadly though, he doesn't have any options like the rest of his team does, so no Sakuchi, no Primal Roar, no LSA, no nothing, so he just dies.
Yep. Very sad indeed. But yeah, SHENZHEN, they're taking more and more control of the map at the moment. They've got that early meteor hammer as you would expect from an OD, so already chipping away quite a bit of this tier 1 tower. This one's not going to be long for the world. Meanwhile, in the back though, they also find Nightmare on Lena, taken over by Lu and the illusion now. Storm turns this around, doesn't have an LSA actually. No way to stop them as the hammer drops. Lu pretty damn low inside that banishment and should end up taking out. No Sunder available. It's cooldown too. Oh man. They just get the tower. They got the 2 most important kills on the map for YBB.
What a time to be alive. YBB lose their most important heroes. They lose the tier 1 tower middle. And they don't just lose to anybody, but they're losing out to the cores on the other side. And they're going to lose down bottom as well. Ironit gets gripped by Hara. Z throwing out the second wall of the game. Throwing up with this Ion Shell. Back just to make 100% certain. And they pick up that additional kill. Although his allies are showing up for revenge, they've already gotten the 1 onto Hara. Double damage rune on 928. Certainly useful in that regard.
Like, how did you do so much damage? There's no bug on him to get rid of the armor. No, it's just straight up DD right hit picks. Let's get something out of this, but not exactly the kind of traits that you want. Cores for support.
No. And to make matters worse, Dragon Drop, that was a situation where the Beastmaster really wanted to be able to put pressure on the tower, and he ends up losing his life. They're still gonna get it, but now they had to commit additional resources for this, bringing down all the heroes. So the Terrorblade's a little bit isolated. The Triangle's not really being farmed or stacked right now, and their entire top jungle is completely taken over. But they absolutely do need to take this tower. But whenever plays like that happen, that delay a team, that requires time to still come online, you always feel really good as the opposing team because you're definitely going to be ready to fight sooner. The Maelstrom is not even being considered by the PA. He's like, look, I'm having a good enough game that I can go for Battle Fury. I got the Orb of Corrosion, so that will do for now. And the rest of the lineup of YBB, they're not building defensive items just yet to be able to resist us anyway. This Yule's build-up from the Lina, we very rarely see this Dragon Drop. I actually can't even tell you the last time I saw Yule's first on Lina before BTs or anything. As we just lose 9-8 at the top. Bye. What can we do? But what do you make of this build? We're here for Storm coming in on the Lina.
I think it's gonna necessarily like the way the lanes have shaped up and the way they're responding to us right now is. I think it's the best way they can handle this because, like, you see Storm, he was gonna rotate out of the mid lane anyway because it was gonna be too dangerous with constant pressure from D, making this exact combo that we've seen him do on the Weaver up top, with the Astral Prism into Meme Hammer into whatever else his friends bring to the table. So those are always gonna be easy kills, which means Storm has to join with the rest of the team, but he's also gonna need some sort of defense if he does get caught out by that. Because he's also going to need to be the one right-clicking for a while. Lu needs some time to catch up in the jungle, you would think. Try and find some safe farm. So yeah, the 3 of them will work together. 9-8 will either join them or take that aggressive farm, like he did up top. But yeah, it's also, of course, great little setup. Very classic for the LSA. So this is a very good youth game, I feel like.
You just saw a very good team movement coming in here from YBB. As soon as they made that gank up on top, Lu as well as Ionit, they were pushing middle, but they backed off. And they killed the courier that had
what?
On it. That is huge.
How is that even possible?
Oh my gosh. That is... Honestly, I thought he already had the blink in his inventory, and he poured it in behind the tier 1 as they were losing the Tusk in the top lane. And I thought that you wanted to blink out, catch the Terrorblade quickly before he was able to make an escape. However, he doesn't have it in the inventory, and worse yet, it gets killed on the courier. That's the second time this game that SHENZHEN have a potentially game-changing item removed from play by the courier dying. Like the Orb of Value that got taken out of the lane ended up not being too detrimental to Ionit. He might have died once if it was in the lane, but this is going to be huge. Now there's a lot of aggression you're not scared of. And to make matters worse, there's a lot of plays that aren't available anymore to SHENZHEN without access to having that young Blink Dagger, because like you mentioned, the leader having rushed this Yule Scepter will have that added layer of additional defense and will have an easier time showing up to fights than the OD because he just doesn't have the same mobility that she does.
Yeah. It's going to add some more to that here with the Boots of Travel joining in. and about 500 goals. So then you'll be able to go anywhere because you can also teleport on the Beastmaster creeps.
Yeah.
So especially the Hawk that's sitting there in this. Just imagine, you can actually be anywhere with just level 1 wards. And that, okay, that one's a bit awkward. Right in tower range. Whoops. It happens.
Right now, SHENZHEN are really desperately trying to stack up for something. They have 15 seconds until Blink Dagger's back again, or at least Ash's courier respawns. And he's very close towards having 4 staff as well. So the mobility issue I just mentioned is about to very quickly be solved. And they just got access to the Aghanim Scepter for Seed. Went ahead and rushed the item here, Dragon Drop. So the Ion Shell double charges for some additional bonus HP for people, bonus damage. And the way things are stacked up right now for YBB, they want Lu to be able to participate in fights, but he doesn't have a full damage item just yet. They're still over-reliant on the magical output of Storm as well as Laguna Blade. And we've seen in the past before just how having that extra bit of HP, that little bit of punch, a little bit of a beast between yourself and death can make all the difference in the world versus these spellcasters, allow you to extend the fight, and suddenly you get a quick turnaround with a big crit, or with Sonity's Eclipse being dropped by Ash, who they smoke up, but I do think they got scouted by this Hawk, so YBB should be aware that this particular move is coming.
Oh, 9 to 8 forward, but Iron also hanging around. It's gonna be very careful. You blink forward onto the core. I think to stop this Moonhammer follow-up, that'll be a free kill.
Nice. Really thought they saw that coming, and they should have been able to avoid that, but
Yeah.
9 to 8 even broke the smoke on the side there. How
They're
sad.
coming into play, like, got an Ash to blink across. I mean, of course, they've had this vision in the camps and knew exactly that there was a much juicier target than just the Weaver right there. Yeah. Speaking of juicy targets, I mean, you go for Roshan, they've got the Iron Shells going, they've got tag team. So a bit of minus armor, so this one's falling pretty damn quickly. YPP knows that this is happening, but they're just too late to react.
And they're gonna get a bonus here.
Over on the Weaver. Okay, bit of a miscommunication, but the shutout, follow-up. Need an extra protection, just burst them down in the Fate time.
So we got our veggies and some dessert to get the Aegis up on the ready for Kaikyo, as well as being able to get to 9 to 8, opening up more farm for themselves. The one drawback is that Lu finally is back in pole position on net worth, but it doesn't really seem to matter when SHENZHEN have all the opportunities to fight. Ash just picks up the 4-staff as well now, so Blink, 4-staff, and Beam Hammer. Very easy to close down these targets on YBB. Kaikyo is rounding the corner towards having the full BKB. So the timing for this PA is getting closer and closer. We're getting to those scary stages here, Dragon Drop, where she just shows up and heroes just die left, right, and center. Yep. And there's no counterplay option for YBB. The armor isn't fully there just yet for the CB. Still has to build up an item or two, and the damage output back in the opposite direction suddenly drops off a cliff once that BKB is available. We're still far away from having MKB for Lu or for Lina. In fact, I think that at some point Storm should also build MKB in this game. They definitely will need it to punch through this PA, and also I'm just imagining the turret potential of her having MKB and in a Beast Aura. That's going to be insane amounts of right-click damage coming in from the Lina.
Yeah, it's something definitely worth considering. I mean, right now SHENZHEN are sitting on a really good timing. But I think they actually need to get something done with that. They need to get some tier 2s and need to start choking out YPP, because Terrorblade is farming. Like you said, Lu is getting there. And there's some ways to deal with them, again, with mostly on the back of the OD doing extra damage and the Darkseer illusions, but that can also be mitigated once Lu gets a beacon. That's not normally an item that you want on illusion heroes, because obviously illusions don't benefit greatly from it. But it's definitely an item that is required as the game goes on here, I feel like.
Yep.
To protect yourself against the things that could kill you, you know, that's kind of the point of it. And he's gonna get there, and he's gonna be a scary carry in the late game, and yeah, it's gonna get tougher than it is right now. SHENZHEN, they have the chance to end the game in the next 5 to 10 minutes, I think.
Yeah, the game not only just gets more difficult, but Terrorblade is in one of those wonderful positions you love to be in when you play this hero, where you look at the lay of the land, you look at the map, and you say, you know what? Provided I have my items, I can easily solo carry this whole team. And I don't really care about them. And if they don't really use this window to the maximum, they're the ones that are in trouble. And they've been slowly but surely forcing out those top tier 2, dropping down the meme hammer when they have the opportunity. That's the one major drawback of the SHENZHEN lineup. They don't really have easy ways of forcing out towers. You know, it's not like they have Beastmaster who can just build up an army or buy Helm of the Overlord. They kind of are forced into this position where all they can do for their pushes is drop meme hammers. And despite the fact that they're ahead, this particular drawback of their draft has led to a situation where YBB are able to trade out towers. In fact, they almost got the tier 2 first down in this bottom lane. They might end up losing Storm though. What a Yules!
Oh.
Are you kidding me? The defensive Yules comes out, but can do nothing against Strength. Still get chased down at the end. And looks like this kill is gonna happen, whether they like it or not. Storm, great plays from you, my friend, but ultimately not enough. Still, that was super clean with the reflexes.
That was pretty sick, but then Drink also has a blink dagger now, so there's only so much that you can do to get away from both of those.
They're chasing
Same
Lou.
Time, they can even more. This would be a huge kill, committing everything on top of it. The Fiend script for Paolo, no way to cancel it. Tycho showing off that BKB to really ensure that this kill will not be taken away from them.
That was a chase of notes from SHENZHEN, and it happens again here, Dragon Drop, where they take out the 2 essential heroes and follow that up by securing a tier 1 tower. It really does feel like SHENZHEN are starting to get off to the races now. 5k gold lead, Lou died, and Jai just as he picked up the Eye of Skadi. So at the very least did finish off his farm, but terrible times to lose your lives. And also this Lina, she backtracked for this Aether Lens. She's been trying to finish these BTs for quite a while here, but her progression has really been stalled out. And although we do got that really cool dodge with the Yule Scepter, I think this is kind of one of those times where we see why we often have BTs built first. Just helps you progress so much easier as a Lina. When you have this Yules, there's a little bit more incumbency to try and make something happen on the map, and indeed YBB will try to go for that. They still have an Aegis on SHENZHEN, but if they can exploit a time where they're fighting 3v5 because they don't have the PA nearby just yet, YBB could come away with a really good timing. However, the Hawk scouted out by the Sentry, the entire team of SHENZHEN immediately backtracking together behind the tier 1 tower for safety. And they'll be okay, they'll be fine. YBB even more frustrated now, because whenever you go for these kind of moves, sort of desperate smoke, and you find nothing on the map, you feel so much worse afterwards. You don't even really get an opportunity to reclaim that much vision control. At the very least, Ogre does plop down the 1 ward, but they were already playing in this area of the map, so it's not reclaiming vision control, it's just re-establishing what they already had, and hoping that they can try sneak in a tower before it's too late down bottom.
Not a super common move to go this aggressive into an Aegis. So yeah, it's as you said, trying to get something, trying to make sure that Lou isn't stuck in the base. Right? That's really what it comes down to. Make sure that you still have a path out of here. Try and slow down SHENZHEN wherever you can, while not losing a lot of the process. Yeah, I mean, once again, the Weaver will be caught. Fiend script this time even used. And there was on cooldown, so could not have relied on that follow-up. Yeah, YTB get a tier 2 bottom. They secure an extra outpost, so they will have that experience coming in. High ground is a different matter for Shin.
They're pushing sucks, so coming high ground very difficult. You have to get past this Lina, you have to deal with the Wild Axes and some of the Iron Army. He does have Helm of the Overlord now, so walking around with this Ancient Granite Golem, making it a lot more difficult to punch through their defenses on the high ground. And SHENZHEN are recognizing this fact, especially as this Aegis has now expired. And they're not trying to press their luck. They're just gonna come back, take things easy. They've got a full BKB out on PA. She practically has the gold right now for a Desolator, just about 900 off until she gets to that level. Once they have Deso with Meme Hammer, then it does become a bit easier for the push, but they still have to risk their lives to make it happen. But YBB are trying to get them to risk their lives more directly, as they're still camped out in this jungle. Lou is farming the lane. They're sticking around with 3 heroes on the high ground. They were hoping somebody would wander into a Primal Roar, but SHENZHEN have been so disciplined in this game.
Yeah.
And in fact, SHENZHEN are looking for their old play buddy. Look who they find in the top lane. It's Young928. What's up, fam? What's going on, mates? Hello, but okay, Storm shows up, trying to get a counterplay. Yule Scepter not gonna buy enough time, and realizing that he's done everything he needs to, in fact, giving 9 to 8 the opportunity to time lapse back.
I think
All
that's
right.
the first time he's actually been allowed to do this. Because yeah, Drink was a little bit late. Ash was a little bit too early. Like depending on how you want to look at it, didn't actually have that proper amount of follow-up that they needed to get them down to 0. So yeah, YPB this time getting away with it. Didn't get much in return outside of the satisfaction of living. And I mean, life can be pretty satisfying. Look, don't get me wrong, but it's baby steps towards a better future at this point.
Yeah. One of the big things about the game as well is look over on the side of where Storm is and the build-up. Instead of going for the BKBs, eschewing that route and instead opting straight up for the Aghanim Scepter. So they want the ability to kill PA even through BKB, so that when she pops BKB, you can still get Primal Road, Laguna, right-click, and then you die, whether you have that defense or not. So YBB are playing around these items of SHENZHEN. There's a BKB from Ashen as well. And is this our boy 9 to 8 again? Yeah, it is. And this time, I do not think there'll be the allowance for a time lapse. Let's see. And
Nope.
Yeah, nope. That's not happening. Is it?
Nope. Full 5-minute rotation. I mean, this is kind of his job. Even if he died earlier, it would have been same analysis I'm gonna give now. Like, it's either him or somebody else, and somebody else is more likely to be a core than not. So he needs to be taking the aggressive farm. He needs to be trying to keep tabs on SHENZHEN. The only way to do that is with depths. And that's just the way it's gonna have to be. The downside is, of course, you're also opening up these kind of objectives here. Not that they would have had an easy time contesting that against the Darks here. Like, that's a big conundrum in this game, and that's the thing that makes the late game a bit questionable, even with the Terrorblade on the field, who's normally one of the best late game carries. I think it's the stronger he gets, the stronger Darkseer gets as well. He's got the normal punch now, so you can get extra illusions, and it's not like Phantom Assassin isn't a hero that scales well, right? It's quite the opposite.
And she's got help in this game, of course, so now with Seed having all of this, also building into a Blink Dagger, I'm really scared for what happens afterwards. Then suddenly Blink Wall of Replica onto Lu and or Storm is going to come really quickly. At the very least, Storm is going for this magic route, so it's not that big of a deal. But for Lu, it's going to be absolutely massive, because this Terrorblade farming very, very well in this game. Picks up an Enchanted Quiver right now. Doesn't want to actually keep it. Instead, passes it over to 9 to 8. But I think 9 to 8, you're dying too quickly. Keep the Pupil's Gift, my friend. Don't give this one up. Keep this. Get that Aghanim Scepter going. That is also one X factor for YBB, right? We're talking about what SHENZHEN can bring to the table late game between this Darkseer and this PA, but 9 to 8, the ability to ensure that these heroes can play the fight twice. We've already seen thus far in this game that SHENZHEN, a lot of their success has come from the fact that they can drop all their spells onto one target, and that target dies, and there's very little that YBB can do about this. However, once they have this Aghanim Scepter, suddenly it's not such a great idea to have to drop all your spells on one target, because then that target survives back up to full, and then suddenly you have nothing left for the rest of their priority heroes. And SHENZHEN, they don't want to let the game even get close to that point. With this Aegis, it's not a farming Aegis this time, Drag and Drop, it's a pushing Aegis. They're trying to get themselves, if not a lane of racks, at the very least a tier 3 tower to set up for one later, but they're being too careful about this. Their creep wave is too far back. They don't feel comfortable. They're coming home.
Would not have wanted to back off there, but they do get the setup here on the Weaver once again.
Poor 9 to 8.
Well,
poor 9 to 8.
Still a couple minutes left on the Aegis, so they can reestablish this kind of push. Yeah, they're not pushing high ground yet, but I think they need to with this Aegis. It's Kaiko. Come on. Want to over-engage, over-commit into this Aegis. You'd still need to use a bunch of stuff here to get to the first life. And then the BKB comes out in a second.
Also love that Kaikyo, despite knowing that for a fact, still decided to play that as carefully as possible. Like, backed off, was talking to his team and saying, is Seed here? Nah, the Darkseer is not around, so let's wait until he's closer before we decide to do anything super aggressive. But this does mean that most of the time left on this Aegis, I doubt they'll be able to use this for hitting the high ground. 928 is back alive. Kaikyo still is going to be farming quite well in these next few minutes, and the Basher is going to be a big deal, but what I think is an even bigger deal is already having access to this Aghanim shot. Fan of Knives is not a slouch spell by any stretch of imagination. Going to make a huge difference. This jump that Kaikyo has, Ion Shell, Fan of Knives, tag team potentially coming in from Drink, as well as having the cover of Grip as well. Like, yo, it's very difficult for Target to survive. I think that YBB actually should avoid any and all fights until they get this Ags on 928. Like, nobody can survive this pressure until they have the ability to drag them back with the time lapse. There's no Lotus Orbs, there's no Linkenses. So until that point, just the... You see your SHENZHEN, run. That has to be the order right now in the team.
Yeah, certainly the way that SHENZHEN has been playing so far, just always as 5. When the moment they start to venture into enemy territory, that's not the same as they would want to be. Like they're not far away from each other. So that's this also means, or it also explains why it's been very hard for YBB to get this sort of pick off their own, as otherwise could have here with the leaner Yules, but now they're gonna try again. Try and catch SHENZHEN one of these rare moments when they're a bit split up, farming different sides of the map. They've got the blink Yules on the leaner now with the boots of travel, so Storm is ready that way, halfway towards the axe. Same for Weaver in that department. A little bit closer, needs 1,000 gold. Once again, just a smoke to establish some control over their own jungle.
Yep.
They had a smokes get, I guess.
That's pretty much all they've been doing with a large majority of these smokes, right? They had a Hawk scouting out the Radiant Triangle and it gave them vision of Kaikyo. And they know for a fact that there's no way that Kaikyo's playing alone, so his team is likely nearby him. So they're like, alright, we can finally go and smoke into our own jungle, take back the outpost, you know, maybe plop down a ward or two, even if it's a sentry. And they also finished off the MKB for the Terrorblade, so if they were lucky enough to come across PA out of position, they might have tried to go for something. And they're gonna smoke again. Now they know the Aegis was gone. They have the MKB for damage. Lina didn't buy the Aghanim Scepter first. She instead opted for Blink, so she has some extra reach as well, and she's gonna use it jumping forward, but she's all alone here. Drake and Kaikyo immediately turn around. She saves herself for a second with the Yule Scepter, but Sanities, woo, put her in the grave. But look at this, Primal Roar with right clicks from the Terrorblade. They're trying to bring down Kaikyo, but Kaikyo happy to jump into the fight, repeating the Satanic, getting back up to full. The Thunder won't help you in that situation, my friend, as the Terrorblade goes down as well. Ash manages to find out on the side of the fight Storm, who brought back and TP'd into this fight to try and help out. But all he brought back into was into the coffers of SHENZHEN as they take down 4. Nobody has any buyback who matters right now. Olga can, but who cares about that?
Take a look at that again.
Big
so
mistake. Why did Storm go?
Went in, no vision. Then you die, and Lou, he's man fighting with the BKB. He looks pretty decent for a while, but then Kaikyo turns around with the Satanic. Sunder is pretty good on Seed, and they even get that kill. They do get that kill, but it's the only one. And of course, fighting inside a wall, fighting against yourself, as is the buyback Storm. That was. I don't think they needed to do that. I don't think they were that far behind that it needs to go for this kind of a blind initiation attempt. Even I have no explanation for you.
Yeah,
this was reckless, and they've been punished super freaking hard.
Oof. In fighting games, they would call that the hard punish.
Yeah.
The hard punish. You got exposed, got caught sleeping, got caught pressing buttons actually, and. Now they end up getting brought down 1 lane of racks through middle. It's only a half racks, but top they're going to secure a second melee. Lina is about to respawn, but from the result of the last fight, they don't even have to respect her. They will, because they're just playing a very clean game today. And they decide, you know what, there's no need to play with any additional risk. Let's just get ourselves out of the situation. But SHENZHEN now looking and staring down the barrel of a victory here in game 1. And remember what the stakes are. If SHENZHEN wins the series, if SHENZHEN wins this game, YBB, their hopes of upper division suddenly gone. And all hopes of tiebreakers no longer in effect either. So SHENZHEN, they are holding the fate of many, many teams in their hands right now. And they're handling that fate quite well. They doubled their gold lead from what it was before that disastrous fight broke out. They have 2 lanes of racks, and they're buying items at this point to end the game, right? You know, sometimes you see teams scaling with items for what if we still have to play for another 20 minutes? They're itemizing with, no, let's try and finish the game soon. Get a Lincoln Sphere on Ashe to make sure that there's no Primal Roar initiation. Laguna Blade isn't an issue anymore. And we can put this Lincoln Sphere on Kaikyo as well, so that when Kaikyo jumps in with BKB, then it's BKB, Lincoln Sphere on top of it, having Satanic as backup, 100% immortality for this PA, like she's under any threat anyway, having 0 deaths in this game. And she's building into this Abyssal Blade, make sure that she has the lockdown onto the TB. But for me, the really crucial item that they're building is what Seed is going for. Seed is anticipating that one of 2 things is going to happen. Either the game ends very soon, therefore Lotus Orb is a really good option, or it scales later and the refresher changes everything. Either way, itemizing for the dub. And this last smoke here, Dragon Drop, if YBB lose this fight, they might as well GG out after this.
Yes, could end right here. This time they do have some vision advantage here, but there's a bit of a smoke up around. Not going over aggressive here. Recognizing that, yeah, they probably have defensive vision. Yeah, maybe we don't go blind into the high ground like they did. They'll make their mistakes.
Lol. Let's not do it. Let's not do it. I
How
mean,
about we don't throw away this lead. How's that for a change?
funnily enough, they could actually do it though. Ashe with this Lincoln Sphere has BKB now. If he blinks onto the high ground, what do they actually do? They're like, the big issue with that move from them, you know, Storm had no BKB, only had Yule Scepter as protection, and jumped into a situation you just die instantly. But if you have BKB in your Ashe, you're like, come on, let's see what y'all got. But what YBB so far has shown is that they don't have much, and they will not have much if they give up this 3rd Roche with an Aegis, Aghanim Scepter, and a Cheese being available. YBB have given up 2 for free. I don't think they can afford a 3rd one, but also, how on earth do they fight around this pitch here?
Well, they better come up with something now, or else this game will end one way or the other. Don't move up too much. There's a vacuum wall available. There it is, the vacuum. That's the one. Not actually catching Lou, I don't think. He's starting to right-click away with the roar over on Darkseer. Trying to press down, but the defense is snowball. Gets him safe. He is still absolutely fine. And Storm in the middle. They do get that kill. Instant buyback. Feeds him in the pack. Over on the Terrorblade. Well, that was happening. Ashe clicking away. Neither Lou or Storm, they have buyback. This is how the game ends. GG.
Yeah. That's game.
It seemed inevitable anyway, but yeah, it's just showing all of the martial force, all of the might that SHENZHEN have been building in this game. Bringing it all to bear. SHENZHEN. Yeah, it was YBB tried to take some form of fight, but it didn't really have the right approach. I don't know if there was the right approach left at this stage of the game. Like that disastrous team fight earlier with Storm just going in blind and getting killed. I think that was the last straw.
Yeah, up until that point, it didn't look great, honestly, the way that the game was going, and they were getting just 2 behind on farm on Storm. I think that's where a lot of the issues came from. Between Storm and Ionid, they ran into the dual problem of we're struggling to start fights, really, and we're also struggling with our damage output and protecting ourselves, so that leads into these desperate outcomes, right? Only Lou is having the kind of game that they plan to have. They're like, Terrorblade, you're farming over there, go do your thing, it's all good, but Storm, are you farming? Not really. Okay, it's cool. Are you getting kills? Not really. Okay, Ionid, how about you? Well, how's life there? Okay, I've got the Hammer of the Overlord. Okay, sweet. What's the map looking like? They have all the towers. We've only got like 1 tier 2, and it required like the whole team to grab it. Probably not great either. Do you have any other util items that you can help us out with? Okay, I've got this Blink coming up. Sweet. But it's coming after they've got Lincolns, BKBs. Not great, not great. So you could literally sense the desperation off of YBB. Yeah. They just didn't know what to do. They were like, okay, we know we have to try and do something. What that something is, we're unaware. So let's just smoke and we'll figure it out on the way. Do we have vision of the area we're going to? Not really, but we at least see one person is maybe not there. So, okay, let's try something. And more than once they did that. They went for these blind smokes that didn't help them accomplish much on the map. And a lot of this started early on. This first kill was great, but the aggression that SHENZHEN started with, and they kept up the entire game. They gave YBB 0 room to breathe the entire game here, Dragon Drop.
Yeah, it certainly felt like that they were always on the back foot, always just never willing to try and engage, and by the time that they did, it was way too late. So I feel like there would have been a timing where they could have gone in more grouped up and more aggressive. I think that was the only other way that you could have maybe found some success, because yeah, you're seeing in these highlights, a lot of these kills were just one person, mostly 9 to 8, being caught off guard, one by one, dropping, and that gets a lot more difficult. Yeah, that's a very disastrous fight that I've no idea. I mean, if you have a BKB, maybe you can get away with this play, but if you don't, this was just reckless.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like if they played more S5 earlier on, trying to put some pressure, trying to play your own game rather than let SHENZHEN dictate the entirety of it, maybe you would have had a chance, because then, like, Darkseer sure is going to have a better time at occasionally, but Bane certainly doesn't. Phantom Assassin also early on not necessarily ready to fight. OD also having issues when you're right in his face. So, yeah. I think that's the main thing that YBB could have changed in their approach to this one.
To me, it does prove to be fairly problematic that we practically never got to see Lina and Beastmaster on the same side of the map killing heroes together.
Yeah.
Primal Roar and Laguna Blade, when you just look at this draft on paper, that's how you secure all of your big kills, right? There's a guarantee that a big target, no matter how much HP they have, they eat both spells and a couple of right clicks should end up falling. But like you say, we never saw that combo. We never saw them play as a full team, really, throughout that game. The one time that it sort of happened was there was a push that we're all doing together down bottom, and they managed to delta split just before they all got caught out. Storm still died there, but the idea was clearly in the offing. But for the most part, it just really felt like SHENZHEN just had the better understanding of how to do things as a 5-man unit. If we look at how they, immediately as an item would come out, the team is either grouping together or making some objective play on the map, right? We never really got to see that from the side of YBB. It would be like, okay, this item just came. I'm still a minute or so behind the next one. Wait for me, guys. Let me try to finish this one off. And delay after delay after delay. And then you end up in a situation where you realize you're so far behind, you're going into these fights half-cocked, right? Dota 2, there's a reason people talk about timing so often. The timing matters. It's not just, I have this item and it's good. No, it's I have this item at this point in the game before the enemy team is ready to contest it. But if you don't have that item, and or, as we saw happening with both the Lina and the Terrorblade in this game, when you want a particular item, feel you don't have enough time to get it, and you buy a subpar item instead, like, I must also say for Storm, buying Yules, I don't mind, right? I do kind of mind, if I'm honest, but I don't mind as much as buying Yules and then not buying BKB, going straight into Blink Dagger afterwards. This hero is paper thin. She needs protection of some kind, and she just didn't get it. Hell, even my Shadow Blade would have been better than just having this kind of option if mobility really was the problem. Considering that it barely saved her life anyway, you're like, you shouldn't have bought this. Just bought BKB bots. The game is suddenly a bit of a different place, but YBB. Also, I think we see another issue of theirs, which we've seen so far throughout the lower division. This team is really poor playing from behind, and I don't think they have the best ideas of how to recover when the game is not going according to plan. So going into game 2, they need to figure out how to make sure that they draft in such a way that the game 100% goes according to plan in the first 10 minutes. Otherwise, SHENZHEN fans, Magma fans, Aster fans, SG fans, everybody's going to be happy today because SHENZHEN might be on track for a 2-0 the way it's looking right now.
Very well might be, and well, we're all ready to go. You've been blaring on about game 1 for so long that we're almost ready to go to game 2, so no break this time. Seattle's right now, he's making sure that everyone's ready to go. So yeah, I mean, just gonna keep going. You can keep talking, Snare. It's all good.
I must filibuster more. Like, no, I've already been.
No, I think you're right though. Like YBB, they seemed a bit flustered. They seemed like they did not have any ideas on how to handle playing that game. And granted, it was a very hard one with the draft and with the way it shaped up, right? But it was not impossible, and just blinking into nothing with no vision, with no BKB, it was certainly not the choice. So who knows what's going on there? But they do need to, they need to find themselves again, you know, that they need to find the YBB from the open qualifiers that just was just rolling through people, rolling through teams, including SHENZHEN. Don't forget that, right?
This is lovely, right? This is the reverse fixture. We technically don't get those in the DPC, but we do have it here since they met in the qualifiers. Obviously, YBB won, and now it's a little bit poetic that SHENZHEN get a little bit of revenge and be like, "Ha! Shows you what you know. You thought you were the better team. We're also here to play Dota, but it is also game one, and we've seen a lot of these game ones drag and drop where one team is like, wow, they look so good and they're so far ahead, and
Oh
then
shit! I just woke up. Oh god, what's happening? Oh god,
Yeah.
this game.
Yeah.
All right, let's.
And they're like,
I still have
"Guys,
some coffee
you
left
know,
actually. So cheers.
we were just playing, guys. Now we're serious. Now we're coming through to actually play some Dota.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the 2-1 victories that we've seen have come from that exact state, right? Where a game 1 stomp happens, game 2 goes the opposite direction, and then game 3 is just this crazy madness fest that ends up happening. And it could easily go that way. I think as well that YBB weren't prepared in the draft. That last pick Doxia, they weren't prepared. They were not ready for how to deal with it. The laning phase with Lu was completely messed up. He went to the jungle, I think, sooner than expected. And there was that huge double kill that they ended up getting, which completely upended the entire balance of the game because it also drew 9 to 8 to the top lane, robbed away the Weaver from bottom. Suddenly, Beastmaster doesn't have as much help, and the whole map is different. It's changed now just from that one Doxia pick. So I would not be surprised, I would be very surprised if he got banned, but it would also be like, I get it, to be a surprise, but I would understand, yeah.
What a series, what a game. And once again, to remind you guys of the stakes. The stakes are very high. SHENZHEN, if nothing to play for here other than screwing over YBB, because SHENZHEN, they're sitting at 3-3. If they win, they're sitting at 4-3. No way to make it to Division 1 with that scoreline. YBB, though, if they lose the series, they will also be doomed, and we will not have any tiebreakers, and then whoever team wins the next 2 series of the day, be it Aries or Magma or SAG or Extreme, they will be the ones moving on instead. As here we are. We have indeed the next draft ready to go. So it's the Weaver again on YBB. I mean, 9 to 8 it was playing well enough. It's just the axe came out too late to really make a difference, I think. And just the fact that the Doxia was just kind of countering out the Terrorblade was a bit problematic too.
Yeah, I don't really have qualms with him going for this early Weaver pick. I do like that they decided to ban out the Ashe OD.
Yeah.
I think that Ashe did a really good job in that last game. The setups that he was able to give for his team, the save potential, just made life so difficult. And the big burst that he presented, always utilizing it in the best way. One of the better OD performances that I've seen in recent times on that hero. So very well done there. Now YBB, they're in that position where you have to put your best foot forward because this is it. It's the last chance. Are you going to take this one all the way home to the bank, or are you going to flounder? It's big questions for them to ask themselves. And with Weaver already up, it does mean that they have a lot of options, in terms of like the carry hero that they want to buff up. I do hope that this time they don't play it with Ogre again. It did feel like that support duo was very do-nothing. If we compare and contrast it to what we saw from the SHENZHEN support duo, the Bane did a lot in that game. The Tusk did a huge amount. The Ogre, his effectiveness dropped off relatively quickly. And even the Weaver wasn't often, his effectiveness was being felt when he was just eating ganks. But I love to see this. This is one of the preferred heroes from YBB when they're in a winning mood. It's the Razor that comes out. We're going to get the double Eye of the Storm at some point. So SHENZHEN, though they have this DP, this feels like TI4 actually when I'm looking at these drafts. Obviously at the time, Weaver would be in the safe lane, but Weaver Razor on the one side, Bane DP on the other. All right, let's go. 20-minute game, all down middle. Let's make it happen.
All right, all random, all mids. Is that what's happening?
Just need Nature's Prophet here in the off lane, then it'll be perfect.
Yeah. So, SHENZHEN with the Death Prophet. Always, it's not the super common hero, is it? I mean, they've been running it a couple of times. Lost to Extreme Gaming with it. That I'm seeing right now. But they also won both of their matches against Neptune with it. They won against Sparking Arrow with it in the deciding match 3. So it's not something that they're completely unfamiliar with. But YBB with the Razor, you already got to feel that they have a better shot. Just because that hero is incredibly strong right now. They've got a bit of a minus armor strat going between his ultimate, just snapping away at people. and the Weaver bugs. Especially the ultimate. Once you get the refresher on Razor, all of a sudden your damage output is getting ridiculous because you have two ultimates going at the same time, and because of the way it works, they always zap the same target every 0.4 seconds if you have that talent, and that's what -1 armor each time.
Per hit, yep.
And
It's
yeah, that goes a bit fast. You lose what, four armor every 0.8 seconds.
it's
Plus
a
the
bit
physical
much.
damage that it does, it adds up quite fast. So yeah, this is where you see Razor see a lot of success. Just get towards that BKB and then refresher orb or something like that, some sort of build up, and then you just start clearing through people very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's so good that honestly it makes me wonder why we saw that build up fall off for so long. Like it's been like a year plus, it feels like, since Razors were reliably building those refreshers. But now you see it again, it's like, why did this ever stop? YBB, they come in with this Abaddon Morphling pickup duo for themselves, but SHENZHEN go in a very interesting direction, come in for the anti-mage. It's almost like they were anticipating this here drag and drop because they insta-picked this anti-mage. There was no hesitation, no waiting whatsoever. They were just like, it's time for the anti-mage. We see this matchup into the Morphling, so we're gonna go for it. I still remain, despite the fact that we've been seeing this AM a lot more in recent times, I still ultimately remain quite skeptical of the hero. It does have very good matchups in this game, but I don't know. There's still potential in this game that he like finds himself having all his damage drained away, losing a lot of armor, then he can get a right click suddenly. But if that doesn't happen, you know, if that doesn't happen, it's kind of a free anti-mage game. There's very little lockdown on YBB. There's great targets to jump on with the Mana Void. So if they can't fix this issue in the last pick for YBB, they might fall prey to the Kaikyo anti-mage just running them over.
They banned the puck themselves, which would have been a good choice in some ways. I mean, of course, also a target for anti-mage, but at least you have like the coil to keep him from running away and whatnot. So yeah, it's a bit of a conundrum right now, as you said. There's always a chance you can reflect the Razor statically, which is always great, because then all of a sudden you have range right clicks with mana burn on the Razors. It's not necessarily easy, but it's hilarious if it does happen.
Without Irony, Storm should play Lina again. I feel like that's actually a pretty decent matchup into the AM. It's very counterintuitive, right? Because Lina has a massive mana pool as well and can easily get bursted, but her right clicks are pretty decent against AM. If it's not that, maybe like some TA style hero.
Yeah.
They go Pango. Okay, so they're actually playing this Razor in the mid lane, it seems like, for Storm, and then Pango is going to be played in the off lane for Ionid. This I like a lot. We get a disarm against the anti-mage. It's decent enough in the laning phase. You don't need as much mana, right? You can get yourself away from his right clicks. Shield crash can be useful. Yeah. And of course, just rolling thunder. You are never going to be one hero that you pick that solves all your lockdown problems at this stage. But at the very least, you get a very disruptive hero because SHENZHEN do want to be able to move around relatively uninterrupted. Now you have cancel for the Fiend's Grip from far away, rolling thunder onto AM as he jumps in onto a target. Maybe you hit him just as he's about to hit Mana Void. Yep. Save a target at the same time. So this could work. This could work from YBB. This could work.
Yeah, you can get blink, use up to these kind of things to actually once you get on top of a target, you can reliably stun him up for quite a few seconds, regardless of where you are on the map, right? Because normally Pango the ultimate is very heavily dependent on what kind of surfaces you can bounce off of, but of course he has so many tools. You can blink Yules and the shard as well. The roll up to it should be enough lockdown for the anti-mage. It's great counter initiation up against the task snowball as well. You can anticipate where that's going on. You can roll into that once they come out as Ash gets his hands on the Wind Ranger. So, what do you think of this one? Because I'm not too convinced here.
I have, in the same way that you had to turn around with Troll Battle Fury and be like, fine, I guess this is playable and good. I've had to do the same thing with this mid Wind Ranger. Like there was a South American game where I was busy hopping on about how I kind of prefer this hero in the 4 position. You know, a lot of the things you get from the mid lane with this hero, you can still get out of it as 4, yada yada. And then it went out to have a bonkers performance across multiple games, and I was like, okay, I guess you can play this in the mid lane. In this game, you know, there's some interesting situations, right? The shackle shot, not that great for setup against a lot of these heroes because they already have the Abaddon there with the aphotic shield to instantly get rid of it. They don't have that much lockdown themselves overall, but I think the main purpose of this is as some kind of way to reach the backline, in particular to reach Pangolier. And if you just shackle Pangolier, you've done your job in the fight because that's all they have on the side of YBB in terms of massive amounts of team fights. So that might be the only role. The damage output from Ashe can get kind of insane as the game goes on. You're a great hero against Razor because you practically can't get drained, right? You just shackle shot him or just wind run away. You're completely fine in that situation. So you retain all of your damage. Suddenly the only other hero you can drain is this anti-mage. And like you mentioned, there is the opportunity for that counter spell to really make things complicated in that regard. And you still do build quite nice items on this hero. You build BKB at some point. You might not even need it this game, but if you do build it, then suddenly YBB have even fewer options. And Morphling doesn't actually like playing into this Wind Ranger. He either has to commit a lot of magic damage onto her and her alone, or he has to buy MKB at some point to be able to deal with her. Neither option he really prefers for his game. So I actually like this. I can see the understanding here from Ashe. I think they. Oh gosh, I can't believe this. I'm really hoping that SHENZHEN lose here today, but I think I like what they're bringing to the table. I think they got it again. Oh, okay, no, it's fine. It's all good. It's all good. YBB got the D word medal. Hashtag worth. The game is saved. It's fine.
You see the thumbs up though that the ward did?
30 seconds to battle.
It went down. That's actually hilarious. I've not played with these ones yet, but yeah, it's always nice to get that vision out, that extra money, extra experience early on. But yeah, it's things with Windrunner. Like I'm also a Windrunner player myself. It's a very fun hero. You can do a ton of work with it. The downside is you need a bunch of items to make that work. Out of mid, if he gets out of this lane well, he'll get there much quicker than out of other positions. But still a question of it's still a hero where if you oh god, how actually gets the penalty? Gotta be kidding.
Oh wow.
But if you actually get killed once or twice by a timely rotation or something, or by just overextending and doing the math incorrectly for just a little bit, then you can fall behind and you end up not doing much. So that's the one concern that I have with this hero. So we'll see how this one goes. Certainly, as I said, pretty decent matchup in mid as well, because the Link is not going to be as crazy with the Wind Run, getting an extra boost. See how this one goes.
This is a scary one to watch. YBB, this is it. This is their last chance. They lose this game, upper division will have to wait until the second tour. If they win right now, then you still have to contend with the game 3, and still potential tiebreakers. It's not like this one victory just smooths it out for you. Still a long way to go for them, but
I mean, not potential tiebreakers. If YBB wins, they'll definitely be tiebreakers.
yeah,
At least
absolutely tiebreaker.
that's something that we can already say after the series has concluded. It's as simple as that. The only question is what other teams will be joining them in the tiebreaker.
Yeah. And right now for YBB, the lanes are going well, except for this bottom lane where Lu has really been struggling on this Morphling. It's not the easiest lane to play into here against Drink and Seed, and he's been playing it as carefully as humanly possible. Probably still a bit burnt from his experiences in game 1 against the Doxia, so loath to give up a situation where he gets killed again. You know, they don't have the Ion Shell, but Spirit Siphon, tag team, it's a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage. So once level 2 hits, he'll definitely have to be concerned about how he positions himself. In fact, he's already taking some hits now at level 1, and Rain caught inside Ice Shot, and there it is. God, Spirit Siphon, easy level 1, level 2 first blood. Drink will die for this. Lu at least gets the kill on the opposite direction, but SHENZHEN yet again happy with an early game start for themselves as they lead the kill score right now, Dragon Drop.
That was pretty well played, actually. It kind of went on Lu in the moment that a Aphoric Shield came out. They just immediately shifted their target priority to Rain, getting him inside the shots. So he had no defense. As our unit also, no defense left here. Nightmare up. No mana also means that Kaiko can't really finish him off, but the body blocks. No.
Thou payest
Ooh.
dearly.
That's a bit
That
awkward.
is-
Yeah, 9 to 8. He
that's
was busy
huge.
pulling creeps.
Oh, gosh. We've seen those kind of kills happen time and time again. A little sliver of miscommunication between the support who's pulling and the offlaner that's still chilling in the lane. And that death for Einid, it's a pretty big deal. He was doing so well in the lane beforehand. Now gives up his life, not just to any hero, but it's to the anti-mage. And there are a plethora of heroes in this game. I mean, you never want to give a good start to any of your opponent's heroes, but if you want to ask top 5 heroes to you really don't want to have a good start if they're on the enemy team, anti-mage certainly is in that list. And he is going to have already a way better start than the Morphling, which is great because he's the counter pick. So if he has that early net worth lead as well, Morphling, who's been struggling to find CS, not going to be happy with what the rest of the game is going to look like. So they need 9 to 8 and Ioneer to recover in the top lane as much as humanly possible so they can put as much pressure onto Kaiko as humanly possible.
Ton of damage towards Hara actually here with a couple of rankings. Nightmare to the latest taken over by the Pango. 9 to 8 though. Ooh, does not have another Shikuchi for a couple of seconds. Blink across, right clicks up there. But they're quicker for SHENZHEN. Self will be cancelled. One more click to finally secure the skill, but what cost? That was some bloodlust in their eyes. You could feel it.
Dude, Hara is so good today. I don't know what's in his breakfast cereal, but whatever it is, he's got him fully awake, doing the kind of jukes that we haven't seen since like 2014 PPD ESL jukes.
Okay.
You know, take me back in time here. Great plays here from this guy.
Really dating yourself there, but hey. That's what it is, Kaiko. Got some extra health back. It's really annoying for Ionid here, just not playing with any mana. Just a bottle to make this work. A little bit.
They're doing some good pressure down bottom. Lu is now with level 4, finally able to put damage and pressure against this DP, so she's not having as free of a lane anymore. And we can see this is why they really wanted to get those early kills, is to try and preempt this phase of the game being reached, where now Lu's finally going to start being able to get farm. They're going to still put threat back onto range here, and Necrotic Shield not at the ready just yet. Pops it, the one that was already up, but can't throw out another, so we'll end up taking a tumble there. And SHENZHEN, very happy to do this. Like, we can't get pressure onto Lu anymore. Okay, we'll get the free kill onto this Abaddon. We still get a ton of net worth out of this lane. You know, we don't stop the morph, but we get ourselves progressing. And the more and more we do this, the easier it will be for Drink to feel less guilt about vacating this bottom part of the map, to either go stack or assist middle with the potential rotation. Because at that point, Seed will be strong enough that we know that with 2-point Spirit Siphon, there's no way you kill her. You can't really jump onto her and bring her down. And now already Drink feelings like that's the point of the game that's been reached, starting to make his way towards middle. We might even see a potential rotation being reached if Storm goes too deep into the river.
Seed was a bit too deep perhaps. Being kept alive by the Spirit Siphon. Just here. Up top. I need out of mana. There's some stick charges to work with here in Kaiko. Gotta blink out with Bug on top. Would have been dangerous. Dangerous Storm. All such shots, but Ash on the wrong side of that cliff.
Nice.
Sort of almost happening in a span of a few seconds. Nice catch there from Rain. Gets the final rune.
Nice. Good responses from YPP on all sides of this map right now. They stay alive on top. Iron doesn't get killed by the anti-mage. They managed to, with this Observer Ward that they put down earlier defensively, they were aware that Drink is going to want to make a move like this, so they preempt the vision. It protects the life of Storm. And while all this is happening, they immediately do their best, like you mentioned, to almost kill Seed down bottom and exploit the fact that he's lacking the support. Doesn't end up dying, but yet again, YPP taking advantage of these small windows of opportunity. And the big thing for me here is that this mid lane has been conclusively won here by Storm, to the degree where Ash is behind on net worth by several hundred gold at this point. And we definitely do not want to see, if you are a fan of SHENZHEN, a farmed Storm on this Razor. Because this Razor hero, as you were mentioning in the draft, can get insane, but it does require items to get there. But once that refresher is reached, feels like a great game to have that item. No counterplay is really available from SHENZHEN.
It just keeps happening. Another courier kill on bottom. Just flying back, drink hits it twice, and oh yeah, I guess it's gone now. But yeah, it's at this lane stage going a lot better for YBB. Kaiko also starting to feel the pressure here with Bane just being zoned out. Means he can't really tank it up anymore. So Kaiko is the recipient of that. Just a couple right clicks here, the bug that he needs to deal with there, just a swashbuckle, and all of that starts to add up. He does not have the ring of health yet. So it's went for all of these new items. Threats now up to the corrosion is Ash.
Okay.
Actually continuing to go. Windrun's still available. He should haste June. And that's what enables him to really go ham here. But still he burst out. What? 1-for-1 trade so far. 9-8. Not long for the world either though. Seed comes in. Hara drink already. Showing up looking for more. That'll be the end of it.
Yeah, Rain will live. They pop Ghost for this though, Dragon Drop, and it's almost finished. They're not going to get that much damage even onto the tower. They might even glyph this. Yep, there we go. From YBB to make sure that Ghost do null damage. Honestly, I'm okay with this. If I'm on YBB, you lose Storm, but like you mentioned, he gets the kill first out onto this Ash Wind Ranger, and after that happens, suddenly you're the one that gets the experience bonus. And we have to remember that SHENZHEN brought in 4 heroes for that move, plus Ghosts. Whilst YBB only had to use Storm and the 2 supports around him. Ionit stayed on top lane without the assistance of Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage can't actually play this 1v1 happily, so they leave him alone. And obviously bottom, Lu has been just having the best time, was left completely alone for these last few seconds, and that's why he's now #1 on net worth. Honestly, things aren't so bad. And now Rolling Thunder, oh, great cancel. Ionit is dead now, 100%. Wait, is he? Is he?
Oh, he barely had enough mana with the mana boots.
What a player.
That was a great
Dude,
attempt, but yeah. He had enough mana to jump away and then get the roll for a second time. Ooh, down bottom. Should be fine, right? He's a morphling.
You know how you know Ionit is a pro player? You know, if there was a pub, he would have gone for the easy route and swashbuckled down to the south instead, into the waiting arms of the Bane, would have immediately killed him. But he's a pro player, knows what he's doing. Goes top, and now Hara gets the Nightmare onto 9-8, but without support, 9-8 like, ha! What you gonna do? I'm gonna scurry away with the Sakuchi, everything's fine.
Yeah, I was never worried. Yes, oh god, that's Mitch. He's getting some help from Dota Gods. Drops the chip vest. So you can jungle together with our Ring of Health. It's just a perfect jungling item. Then 4 HP regen, so you're getting a bunch of health back when you walk between camps and whatnot. Get the extra damage to work with.
Yep.
Still hanging around in the lane for now. For sure, long you can really do that. So Brain also showing up.
Yeah.
More pressure.
They have literally have nothing to stun him up with, so he can do this forever, honestly. He can just stay here. Blink away when he really feels threatened. And they recognize on the side of YBB the hard time they have actually locking him down, so they don't even try to get super aggressive. But Hara, sorry my friend, you're a very different story. You don't have an extra blink, so thank you for showing up to our meat grinder, but they're bringing in reinforcements. Hara will die, Seed comes in, pops the ghost, Ionit. Immediately, TP will not happen thanks to that Mana Void of Kaikyo. They've also gotten a kill onto 9-8. They're trying to make things 3 by chasing Rain on this Abaddon. Kaikyo should have the damage for this. It's underneath the tower. Rain does have the magic stick and Aphotic shield. We won't be able to get off the shield though. Kaikyo, one last hit prevents the mana from being replenished. It's gonna be a double and 3 heroes falling. This time around, yeah, using Ghost definitely worthwhile for this one.
Yeah, that's a bit awkward. Storm can also chase Seed here. Drain on drain action, but one drain is a little bit more damaging than the other at this stage. It's a bit concerning. Anti-Mage is getting to be power super kill. It's full zero block right now.
Yep.
Just really take advantage of what you just said. That they don't really have a lot of great lockdown for him, a lot of great threats if he's already low as mid. Trying to drain hard. This time Beach go both double check to follow. Snowball on top, and with the tag team, they're just bursting him down again. 1-for-1 trade, but this time it's a core for support.
Oh, that was beautiful. SHENZHEN, wonderful shackle shot from Ash. Rain wasn't in position with the Aphotic shield, so they weren't able to get off the cleanse onto the Razor. As a result, that's a quick, easy death. And SHENZHEN, they already showed in the previous game that they, and in this game, frankly, that they have zero qualms about committing spells, as many as needed to bring down a target. And yet again, they managed to bring it down a pretty big one. Storm is building into this BKB, so while he's vulnerable and while they can get those kills, SHENZHEN definitely doing the right thing to make as many happen as possible. And they're going to try press for this tier 1 tower bottom. Sadly though, YBB are coming back for this. I don't think they want to give up map control. They know that they're behind on kills, presumably behind on gold as well, which they are to both the DP and AM. So the last thing they can afford is to also be giving up map control at the same time.
Turning down bottom. For Linken's here, it's why you ended up going for the Ring of Health as a laning item rather than the Morph Mask that we often see from Morphling. That is just so very efficient because you can go max agility, hit creeps 2 times, and you're back up to full essentially. But not in this game because he feels like he needs that extra defense against like this kind of initiations or Mana Void. Mana Void not so much against. Coming in, Seed, popping that ultimate. The moment comes off cooldown. Trying to chip away this tower, eyeing it. Waiting for the right moment. Back and forth, and now we go. But Seed is pretty damn fast. That was Ash, but Bucks keeping tabs on them, trying to turn this one around on Seed. Slowed down, and just oh god, Snowball though, bring them further in, trying to burst down 928, silenced up. No chance for time lapse. As now, Finscript on Razor, this time there's okay, goodbye Seed. Enough random damage here to make this one work. Drink! Ah, not long for the world either. Get them at the very last second. That's the blink completed. This looked like they should not have been able to take this kind of successful fight with YBB. Just more or less wasting the entirety of the Rolling Thunder just chasing after them.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be poor.
Ray's already doing a ton of damage here. 1700 in that fight just with Ice Storm and a couple of really good plasma fields.
We also finally get to see a fight where this Razor got gripped, but immediately it gets cleansed off by Rain on the Abaddon. And suddenly we see that when they do have that full freedom in the fight, it's very, very different story, and YBB can output quite a lot of damage. Even through the Snowball Seed, that was one of the best plays I've seen in a long time from Drink. Kept Seed alive for a lot longer, it allowed them to kill this Weaver, but ultimately it still doesn't go in their favor. But it did require all 5 heroes from YBB, and in the interim, SHENZHEN, who had deployed Kaikyo to push down the tier 1 tower in the top lane, and he did succeed. He got it for free. Lu TP'd in, looking for a potential deny, and will be able to clean out the tier 1 at the same time top. But the fact is, they still got relatively something out of the map trade. You know, you basically traded the DP's life for the tower itself, and now that DP's back online, they're just gonna wait these 30 seconds, or not even wait that long. They're just gonna try and force the fight bottom to take this tower at last.
Showing himself using a bunch of mana, so otherwise it could have been.
Oh, sorry, baby.
Oh, what a tumble! That's a dead hero now. He didn't show himself earlier. They would not have necessarily known that he was there. He could have gone for a similar play, but this time with the Blink Dagger, just getting the initial stun on somebody to defend this tower as it stands. Yeah, just gonna have to let this one go.
Dude, Hara's been playing so well in the series. I've been very, very impressed by this Bane play, and the more and more we see it, the scarier it gets. And in this game, they will have Linken Sphere at the very least to help them deal with Fiend's Grip and the Abaddon, but I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw somebody else still buying like a Lotus Orb, being like, this is ridiculous, this is a bit much, we're trying to get ourselves out of the situation. Ionid, having been brought down bottom, he is really struggling with progression on this map. He has the Blink Dagger, but any other items are long and coming, and they kind of need him to make progression, not just for items, but the experience is necessary so he gets access to Lucky Shot. Lucky Shot's a big deal against a hero like Anti-Mage.
Yeah. He's not skilled in until now, but yeah, absolutely right. Fighting mid perhaps, but Hara got the Nightmare out, and Ionid unable to re-chase. So, good thing about this is that Pangolier is a hero that can do a lot even with very few items. So, I mean, having the Blink Dagger is already pretty damn good. That allows you to get that lockdown on target. And the more important part is that Lu is doing quite well. He has Linken Sphere to protect, and then can go for some damage items now. Raisin's also got the BKB. You've already seen how much he can do if he gets to stay alive in this fight. So, YBB they're sitting pretty right now, especially because it is an anti-mage. He's got a Battle Fury at a decent enough timing. Not the fastest one, just because he's gotten like Open Corrosion Treads and whatnot before that. But his farm is going to accelerate, but it's not necessarily going to be able to join into these 5-minute engagements just yet. So YBB, they can play 5v4 for a little while. Taking advantage of the fact they get the Aegis into their hands as well. And the question is how much they can get going forward from here. They certainly have the strong timing right now, and I think they know it.
A golden thread.
We'll see how they're able to utilize it though on this map with the BKB. With this Aegis taken away, it looks like they're stacking up to potentially move through bottom. Several heroes are streaming in. Oh no, Storm actually cancelled his TP. Never mind. Never mind. So they changed their mind about the side of the map they want to play. Looks like they're going to stick around to playing top lane because they have an Observer Watch here. They just saw that Kaikyo showed up. They don't have lockdown for this anti-mage, but they still have... Oh, Hara, yet again. This reminds me of the lane where Kaikyo's like, hey, I've got this blink. I can just dare them and debate them and taunt them. Haha, I'm safe. And then Hara's like, well, I'm not. I'm not.
Also a bit panicky perhaps, just starting at Fiend script, then immediately realizing, oh wait a second, can't actually do this here, I'm gonna die, and like bottom island, they go down on him, Drain gets his TP cancelled though, so should be a trade.
Worth. Well, not worth because you now don't have time to play, but worth because you got them to use ghosts, and they don't use ghosts on the buildings.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I'm eyeing it and I have like 3K, oh, not 3K, you know, it's a bit hyperbolic, but 2K less net worth than my opponent offlaner, and I'm forcing them to use full ultimates, and he might still die here, see.
Oh,
Stuck around for quite a while, the ghost just came back. Oh no, doesn't have that defense anymore, Lu. Gonna jump him, steals the Spirit Siphon, puts it out, but they're really struggling with the slows, and the lack of lockdown is a problem. They're also rotating in Storm. They have no cancel through the silence because there's no Manta style on the Smurfling. Great play there from C to escape, and Hara gets off a Nightmare onto Storm. So, okay. Yep. Seed is fine. Everything's cool.
So the thing in this game is, Storm alone is not all that scary, but if Rain joins him, then it's a full proper Rainstorm. That gets tough. Still needs a protection from the Dispels, which doesn't necessarily cast BKB just to prevent a Nightmare, right? I mean, this time 9-8 actually taking it over. Storm still chasing with the extra disc. Ah, man, they get the kill. No reaction coming in time.
Storm did get gripped quite a lot in game 1, and he's already been gripped in this game, so I don't think that's the last time we're gonna see Hara being chased to the ends of the earth with like, we're killing you.
Revenge. Alright, 9-8. Definitely gotta use the shovel though. There we go.
He's under attack.
It's a Cobalt friend. So once again, 9-8. He's on the Weaver. He's the one taking this aggressive farm. He has a bit of a chance of living. Coochie down bottom though. Alright, that's Death Prophet. That's the kind of lockdown that we're talking about tonight. It can provide.
Nice.
Will be helpful against Edge later, and certainly effective against Death Prophet as well. No aggressive glyph anymore, but they might be able to bring him down before backdoor kicks back in, and there's a new creeper coming anyway, so YBD very happy to command to this tier 2 tower.
Yep. And they got this before the tier 2 was taken away top by SHENZHEN. SHENZHEN went ahead for that kill onto 9-8. Very similar to what we saw in the previous game. He's also tanking the ganks for the team. And they managed to bring him down, but it did take him a little bit of time. It took them more time to kill the Weaver than it did for YBB to take out this DP. And as a result, tier 2 gets opened. And you're YBB, you're fine with this, right? I mean, if you're playing Radiant side, do you really care about having your Radiant tier 2 top whilst you still have tier 1 middle? Nah, you're Gucci. It's all good. It's fine. You don't care that much about this, but for SHENZHEN, it does matter losing Dire tier 2 bottom as well as Dire tier 2 middle, because now suddenly access to the triangle has been revoked. You need to apply for a special permission from YBB to farm that side of the map, making life a little bit more difficult for the anti-mage, who normally likes to be able to blink camp to camp to camp, you know, like it ain't no thing.
It's a DD rune. Yeah, he built it up. They've got 2 bottles, of course. They've got one on Storm, one on Iron. Iron gave over his towards Lu. Immediately smoke up as well outside of vision. So SHENZHEN It's just Hara here. Might be not showing the DD just yet. No need for it.
Hara is the most important hero on the map to kill, so he's the best hero for the smoke to find.
Anti-Mage is still farming though, right? Let's not forget about that. I mean, we've been talking about YBB's timing, but eventually this Anti-Mage is gonna get strong. It's going for the Skadi build up against the Morphling, which makes a lot of sense. So, where do you think the point lies where he's saying, like, alright, I'm gonna join up, I'm gonna help you win this game now?
After you finish the Skadi +1, well, it definitely might be now, actually. The fight started, or it's not now, because he's just gonna leave Drink to death. Kaikyo's out. He's like, sorry, mates. Not changing. Well, it's clearly not now. Maybe after Skadi, but he might want Basher as well, because the way things are going now, Lu is gonna have the Monkey King bar not too long from now. And then suddenly, this double wind run from Wind Ranger, having bought the Aghanim Scepter heads up, not gonna be as effective. Kaikyo not going to feel as protected in these fights. So I think the Basher is when he really feels that he's properly online in this game. Until that point, I think he's still going to be a little bit loath to fully involve himself. Unless they get a fight where Morphling gets caught with like super high agi and gets gripped whilst the Lincoln Sphere has been taken out by some other dump spell. Then maybe he shows up, but otherwise, I think he still wants to sit back a little bit here for Kaikyo. But he might be forced into joining because YBB are insisting, right? They're taking Lu on all of their excursions, on all of their fights, and eventually SHENZHEN will stop being able to deal with the 4v5 and will require Anti-Mage to show up.
For now, YBB is systematically getting rid of all these tier 2 towers. Unfortunately, they did lose the one in the top, so SHENZHEN also able to gain that outpost at the bottom as they're holding this side of the map at the moment, but YBB? Surely you don't go high ground here. I mean, this is just deploy to get some of them back.
I mean, is it?
Surely. Surely they can't go high ground either. Okay, then just go. Oh, they got X! Got X and Storm, you're absolutely right. And that's a crazy amount of pushing power.
Oh, wow.
Shipping away, so that's a lot of damage done for just a few seconds.
Yeah, my gosh.
Yeah, that's only not the build-up that you go these days, because Aghanim is nice for pushing. It's also it's 2 targets, I believe, in fights. But normally you want the refresher to just, because it's more efficient, right? It does a lot more damage. Because if you kill your single target quicker, you can move on to the next target quicker, right? It's I think the math works out a little bit better that way. But if you want to push, if you need to push before the Anti-Mage really gets strong, then yeah, absolutely, get the Aghanim Scepter to make that happen. Get another free kill on Hara. Keep control of this area. It's YBB all of this time. They're not completely letting go of an area that they've established control over. You know, they're coming in, then they appear to back out, and then the moment Hara shows up, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, we're still here, so thanks for the free kill.
Free creeps, they're going back in. This is actually crazy because without Bane, Fiend's grip has been huge in this game so far. Ash, wonderful shackle shot, but doesn't matter. They're gonna get racks off of this. Bane has actually been a huge engine of lockdown here, and his presence being missing means that they have a harder time fighting SHENZHEN, but Drink blinks in, Walrus Punch out into Storm. BKB though, avoids the shackle shot. Z forced to pop BKB as well, and they just want out from YBB. You know, they are happy to say, well, we got what we came for, we got the tier 3 tower, we didn't get the full lane of racks, but range barracks is now down to half HP. The next time we show up having that Eye of the Storm at the ready, we definitely get a lane of racks.
Not today, not
and
now.
Another double damage in front of Roshan, baby. Yep, let's go.
Call the Haas. This is not okay. Second Roshan of the game, DD right in front. SHENZHEN is smoked up.
This is
Can they even
dangerous. There's
get
no
there
rolling
in
thunder.
time? They're not exactly super fast in their movement.
the wrong way.
This one's just gonna be dead.
Oh no.
Oh.
Honestly, I really thought SHENZHEN was going to be able to fight this because they don't have Rolling Thunder. At the time, they didn't have Eye of the Storm. And of course, you know, not having Aegis as well. It could have been a great opportunity for them, but they went the wrong way, drag and drop. Ah! Feels bad.
fact that they've opened up so much, especially in the top lane already before Aegis, means that you have a much easier time just engaging into the top lane, take a team fight there, and then perhaps move on to more racks. There's many racks even not healed up fully. Really picking up the pace here in this game, and yeah.
This is not a good idea. SHENZHEN's trying to trade. They're gonna lose this trade. You 100% lose this trade. You're gonna lose maybe even a second lane here. They have to come home. They're gonna get one lane of racks out of this. I suppose if they have the 1-1 trade, it's not so bad, but they might end up having 2 lost, and they might even end up losing Siege here. They jump in onto the DP. The shackle shot from Ash buys space and time. It goes in with the rolling thunder. Does get gripped though. Gets out of it. They've already brought down Drink. Here comes Kaito in the middle of the fight. Will he be able to kill any of these targets? Not just yet. They're standing strong from YPP. Storm activated a BKB, and Lu gets Nightmare. They need to help him. Robotic Shield will come out. Waveform away. He waveforms into an Ice Shot though. But the turnaround silence onto 3 heroes from SHENZHEN. They can't chase him anymore. And he's so strong on the small fling. Still has the Sages. MKB, Skadi, Lincoln's at the ready. They can't kill him. Kaikyo did take the lane of Rax down bottom, so they do end up getting the heads up 1-1 Rax trade. In that situation, probably the right thing to do. But they're not done here, Dragon Drop. They're going back in for YBB. Like you said, they will not give up an area they've taken control of.
Yep. Round 2 here, the moment that Eye of the Storm, fittingly enough, returns. Watch out for these shackles here. Just being a bit more careful now, knowing that the entirety of SHENZHEN is there, ready to respond this time. And they might think twice about this, because I mean, losing bottom rack's not actually that crazy or that much of a concern, because you need to push down that lane anyway for the last set of racks. You can counter that pressure, but they're not thinking about that right now. They're just thinking about taking engagement here. See, there's a BKB that you have to worry about. Can't really initiate easily on him. Shackle all behind it. Inside though, that's a big one. Bring down the Pangle lair here. Drink super low, but not low enough. Gets to walk away after the snowball. Lu front racking away. Buyback from line and needs to rejoin the fight. TP'd in to the outpost. The Shackle to turn around on the Windrunner. Lu's just flicking. Lu's just getting Drink too late with the defense. So he's gonna fall. See, just being annihilated through the BKB.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
They chased him.
Kaiko. That was actually a misplay with the Yules, miscommunication, because Shackle would have landed either way. They've got the root, they've got the disarm, they've got silences. Not quite. Gets a little on the bite, dying it with the snipe.
Oh my god.
Instant buyback from the anti-mage, but that steers and went. That was crazy.
Oof.
Stone Shackle from Morphlings, making plays against the Windrunner. And it doesn't matter how strong this anti-mage is, he's not strong enough to 1v5. The person's team dies, the game just ends if this keeps going here. Storm has another ultimate in a couple of seconds, still working away in this bottom. This entire time, no one's ever pushed bottom. These creeps have cleaned through some of the tier 4s, all of the buffer buildings. It doesn't matter. Relentless pressure for the last 5 minutes here from YPP.
They exploit the fact that Anthony, like you say, as strong as he is, he's not stronger than everybody by himself. As they go back onto Ash, has to run away. Lu, with this MKB and the adapter strike, almost kill him. Kaikyo, oh no, caught out by Ivan.
Lockdown.
Unlocked. Will he die here? He does blink away at the last second. They're chasing him. Plasma field just outside of range. The power shot does clip him, stolen away by Lu, but doesn't kill him. At the same time, Fiend's Grip cancelled away by the god of 8 swords of 928. They've gotten the mega creeps here, Dragon Drop, and they still want more. Seed running, trying to get away. Shackle shotted by Lu again. It's gonna be a straight up kill. Wonderfully done by the small fling. 2 cores, dead without buyback. The 3rd hero will fall as Drink gets taken away. YBB have done it. YBB have punched through SHENZHEN. YBB are taking us to a game 3, and they keep the upper division hopes and dreams alive. Lu Morphling, Storm Razor, and shout out to the Pango. But really, in my opinion, this game was all it's Storm and Rain. It's the Rainstorm. The Rainstorm was too strong.
Yes, absolutely.
The Rainstorm was too strong.
The Rainstorm was too strong. That was a game. It's kind of mellow early on. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's fine. Lanes are pretty good for YBB, much better than last game. But Kaiko was farming. How is it going to go? But then YBB, they flipped the switch and like, hey, we have that Aghanim Scepter. We're kind of strong here with Storm. You know, we can go. Even before Aegis, you don't normally see a team go high ground for the first time without Aegis. It does not happen. But that Aghanim Scepter enabled them to chip away, knowing that, yeah, it's 5v4. Anti-Mage cannot fight us right now if we have 5. So that's exactly what we're gonna do, and they never stop. They went from that high ground push. We're gonna see it in highlights, I guess. But they went from the high ground push to the Aegis to the end of the game eventually. Like, they didn't even look. They didn't care about bottom lane. They didn't look back.
No. They went all the way in. They were like, well, if we're in this position where, you know, the one thing that they have, that they are capable of, is if Kaikyo comes in and starts hitting all of us, but he's not strong enough to do that just yet, and he's not strong enough to fully de-push this wave, so let's just go in. And I think they also exploited the fact that Seed, the exorcism cooldown fairly long, and they needed to deploy that every single time they try to get a big fight that would succeed for them for SHENZHEN. But for Storm, the cooldown on Eye of the Storm with Aghanim Scepter is not 130 seconds. You just always have this constant uptime. The same is true from this Pangula as well. They'd go in with Ionid, come back. And initially, he wasn't having the easiest game, this Ionid Pango, in terms of trying to lock down these opponents. But as time went on, he's just like, I don't have many jobs to do except to jump in when they're trying to kill Storm or Lu and stop them from doing that. If they kill me, fine. Cool, I don't really care, but look at the direction of his Rolling Thunders. That's all the only places he's going is to try to keep these heroes alive, because he knows if they're living, their buildings are dying, and here's this huge fight. They get the kill onto him, but Lu, this was huge. The Shackle Steel, they brought back on this fight for Ionid, but poor Ash, just poor Ash. From this, he just kept getting shackled for the rest of the game.
And there it is.
Oh.
It's really well broken. We bring
Game-changing.
down Ash there, really started to snowball, especially with this delayed snowball save, just a little bit too late, and realize that Lu's doing damage even without a DD rune, so Ash also dies with Raze on top of it too, just the ultimate going all of this time. And
there ended up being a dieback as well on Drink there.
Yeah.
That was him coming back. He brought back specifically to save Ash, but can't do it because you're dead too. You get taken away. And look at this drag and drop. Look at this. They don't agree with us that Lu is the MVP, that the Rainstorm is the MVP. They gave it to Lu. But I suppose Rainstorms bring water. Morphling is water, so I can live with it. It's fine.
It's true, yeah. It's by the transitive property, they're all MVPs. So I think we're just gonna go with that. Yeah, I mean, that was just a perfect example actually of why Anti-Mage is a bit of a tricky hero to make work. Because you have, I mean, he's had the best start you could possibly have in this game. He's got so many kills out of the laning stage. He's got uncontested jungle farm. No one could really go in and gank him because they didn't really have any great stuns. But none of that mattered. 30 minutes in, he's having items. It's not like he wasn't farmed. He had Skadi, he had Manta Style, he had Battle Fury, but he could still couldn't fight. It's a very specific set of circumstances when Anti-Mage is good, and it's very hard to force those in a pro game. Certainly with a draft like YBB's, with the Razor and the Morphling, that's also similarly farmed. Like Lu has not been slowed down. 10-0-7. We saw it in the MVPs. So, yeah, YBB. They woke up. They realized, all right, we have that strong timing. They cannot fight us, so let's just go. Who cares about Aegis? We get that later. We can just force them back first. And who cares about bottom racks? No. Bottom. I never liked that lane anyway. Just let it go. You know?
Just buildings. I think,
the play call is just great. Yeah.
Was also in that game that Anti-Mage, one of the reasons it's hard to make work sometimes, and we jump in, right? And the opponent doesn't have to worry about you one-shotting targets anymore. They got to a point where they're like, well, who's he actually going to kill, right? If he shows up, he's going to be eating these Eye of the Storms from Razor or right clicks from Lu. He has to back away immediately, you know? And we saw in that last, like, 5 minutes of the game that there were very few moments where Kaikyo jumped into a fight and stayed there. It was always jump in, poke 1 or 2 times, pop mana void, get out, because I can't stick around. This is just too much damage. So, wow, great stuff here coming in from YBP, and that means Dragon Drop game 3.
Yep, the dream is still alive.
So hyped.
Get hyped, tell your friends. We'll be back in about 10 minutes or so with game number 3. Stay tuned.
有一个人前来奶瓜。
生意行吗？你们哥俩？
你这大招保重吧。
我一个专业团控能给你空大？
那你要是打不中怎么办？
要是打不中，我给你送人头，满意了吧？
我操！你上次上盘跟我做队友的时候了吧？5个人打4个人，他妈4个幻象加个蛋。另外你说的，空大了自己送啊！你他妈比我慌是吧？送头了！
DOTA Plus， 恩怨无需多言。
一个团队最需要关注的是什么？赛前各分段英雄胜利走势、版本强势与否；赛中实时经验经济的走势以及胜利预测；赛后各项数据与大数据的对比分析，无一例外，都得是数据来说明。掌握数据的人，方才掌握胜利。听懂？掌声。
DOTA Plus， 您的火辣让数据不再冰冷。
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Time has come. It's only the first of today's series. All of them are important, but this one is the most important because this one decides whether we'll have tiebreakers. YBB needs to win to have a shot, and then they go into a three-way tiebreaker for the first two slots, together with whoever wins the next two series. SHENZHEN, they can still throw a wrench in the works. They can still just... There's no chance for them to be promoted, but they can mess things over for YBB. So,
yep.
Let's see if they can do it. They're the ones with the razor now. They let it through.
Oh boy. Okay. But SHENZHEN take the razor. They're like, you know what? Fine. If Razor's going to be a part of this game, we're going to take it as well. It worked really well for your team. And I do think that SHENZHEN definitely recognized that having that Razor on the front line for Storm just made life so much easier for them. I don't even think they got to the point in that game where they even needed to get the Aghanim Scepter from Weaver from 9 to 8, but obviously that's a possibility if time goes on long enough. So instead, YBB will be playing a bit of a different game. Game 1, we saw them play this sort of tempo-ish Lina instead of the pseudo-farmer can be nowadays. And now they go all in for the tempo with this Queen of Pain. They're like, okay, we know what to do. They even ban away that Lina for good measure, having already taken out Ash's OD. They're like, sorry, friend, you're not winning another laning phase, but it might... One of the reasons I think they also love going for this Queen of Pain pick is that if indeed it is the Ashe Queen of Razor in the mid lane, Quap, one of the best in the business. You just press W, suddenly static link no longer in effect. Feels very nice.
Yeah. That is pretty nice indeed. Unless you press W or on the spot, and then you just... Or don't blink far enough, and then you're just very sad. So hopefully they can avoid that.
Oh, lol. I also wonder now for YBB if, like for them now, I think it's also a really big deal what Lu plays, because in that previous game, he looked so comfortable on that Morphling. And game 1, he didn't feel super comfortable on his Terrorblade, or rather wasn't really allowed to play comfortably. And that seems to be like the dual win condition for YBB, is Lu having a really good game, but also with Storm able to accomplish what he needs to on the map. So he still has a lot of options for himself. And SHENZHEN have banned away some of the better counter carries, but see that this Ember gets picked up, so a little bit less likely to play some of these spirits. This is probably their mid laner now. They're shifting this Razor towards the off lane, so Lu now doesn't want to really play a lot of these just melee heroes in that side of the map. Okay, we see you. And this is another hero that Ashe can play hyper aggressively. I think that's where they also started feeling a little bit off the pace in game 2, is that Ashe just felt like he couldn't do anything on the map. Ember Spirit's definitely the opposite of that. This is the definition of a do-something hero.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Very aggressive, very in-your-face, very mobile, with a lot of magic damage, a lot of jungle farming potential if you need to, but certainly with someone that can really follow up any setup from the Bane, right? Bane kind of wants to go around, be like, hey, yeah, by the way, oh, you're Nightmare, so you're locked down for forever, and I'm gonna have help coming sooner rather than later. So Ember Spirit, Razor, both of them kind of fit into this idea as YBB. They're bringing something new to the table here. Grimstroke and the Faceless Void. So that's...
Okay.
I mean, last game they were kind of lacking lockdown and still managed to make it work. This time, they've got a bunch of it now. Faceless Void with the Chronosphere, one of the... it's also one of these scary late game carries, right? He brings this super hard lockdown with him. And if he has items, he can just kill anyone inside the Chrono, but you can only kill them once. Killing Wraith King twice is a bit tough.
Yeah, definitely. That's become a little bit more difficult, and you always see teams doing this whenever you have to play into Faceless Void. The core hero you pick up has to be a hero that can, you know, eat the Chrono, get through it in good state, come out on the other side still alive. And now suddenly you have the situation where it's Wraith King. You know, the bubble, like you say, it's very difficult to kill him twice through it. You just will never have that damage. Against Ember Spirit, it's kind of hard to catch the Ember at times with this bubble. Fortunately, you do have some help. Phantom's Embrace will make it a lot easier. Ember can do nothing about that little bug except hit it to get it off. So you can then hit him with the bubble. But even if you do, him, Razor, not always the easiest customers in the world to take down. They do have damage into the bubble itself, but do think that SHENZHEN with this Wraith King pick have certainly made life trickier for YBB as to when and where it's best to use the Faceless Void ultimate. But also I can understand why they wanted this hero. You also have the time walk in the lane, get away from the static link of Razor throughout the game as well, and just have a hero that can scale practically infinitely for Lu. And like you mentioned, when this hero gets to the late game, he's such a beast, such a monster. And they probably saw that across this series, the big theme has been the team that is capable of fighting is the team that's ended up winning. And in this game, he wants to make sure that no matter what, even if he's running out of farm, they always have some tool to be able to threaten a fight with, so he doesn't run into the same situation that Kaikyo did on his anti-mage.
I was gonna say, I'd like to see maybe a Legion Commander here, because decent combo with a Grimstroke can potentially get double duels out. It will give you that extra buff inside the mid game, right? For the Faceless Void, not necessarily damage inside the Chrono, but it would stabilize the power spikes a little bit, because right now with the Pangoli, he can do a similar job. But there's a bit of an opening perhaps for SHENZHEN if they can somehow take advantage of it, where in the mid game where Queen of Pain, her damage is starting to fall off and Lu is not quite ready on the Faceless Void to make up for that. I think that's the timing that SHENZHEN would be looking for. With this very high impact tricore that they have. That's going to depend on the lanes not going terribly wrong, which they really shouldn't. Gotta watch out on the YBB safe lane, I guess, with Grimstroke and Void potentially getting some kills with some lucky bashes with the Inkswell. This should be an interesting one here.
Yeah. This is probably the closest draft that we've seen across the 3 games, and the one that has the greatest potential to go super late as well in this game. Both teams have some great scaling cores. They have the ability to get across the map quickly, to gank from their mid laners. Both of their supports can really buttress the laning phase and ensure that they come out with decent matchups or even with early kills, because it's a fairly aggressive early game draft as well from both teams, like in the lanes. Both sides have good purchases of BKBs. Both sides have ability to be able to seed Roshan. It's a very, very close game. The one place where SHENZHEN does feel a bit more favored is they have better tower take, having access to the Razor and the Wraith King. So if they ever get to that position where they are ahead in front, buying that Axe, buying the refresher on Razor, just getting levels on Wraith King, they can melt buildings a lot faster than YBB can. So it does feel like that window that you were mentioning in the mid game does feel like YBB have to work harder to shut it, because they can get exploited super hard at that point in the game, end up just getting ran over by SHENZHEN. And again, we don't have a draw from them that is excellent on the recovery, right? You're playing Queen of Pain, Faceless Void. You're not trying to play from behind. You're not trying to play from behind with this kind of situation. So SHENZHEN, if they can muster the ability to roll them early on, YBB may have a hard time coming back. But they also have great heroes to stop that roll coming into them, because if they get like 1 or 2 items, they can fight fairly early on with this draft right now.
Yeah. That's really what's going to come down to. Definitely look at this laning stage to see how this game's going to play out, because that's a really good point that you make. If YBB falls too far behind, this timing window for SHENZHEN is going to be bigger, and it's going to be easier to exploit, and it's going to look not great for YBB if that happens. Like, they're gonna get rolled. That's the kind of situations where maybe you get a good chrono, maybe you don't. But even if you do, you don't have the damage into it, so it feels bad. So definitely look out for that. Aggressive rotation up towards the high ground, but I think that's been scouted. Maybe not though, as Iron's still hanging around here. Oh, he does not know. He has no idea.
No, he did.
Now he knows.
Oh,
don't tell me. Oh, he lives! He gets to live! He's the liver. Not a pancreas.
Oh my gosh. Ah, lol. Grimstroke, Stroke of Fate plus Swashbuckle. Everything's fine. Inet gets back. And if they'd gotten that first blood, it would have been huge, because they also found the early D ward from Hara. He got scouted out as he was coming to plop down his own ward, recognized that it probably means that the enemy's already gotten theirs on the other side, and he guesses correctly with the sentry, got the D ward, and if they'd also gotten the first blood, that would have probably meant they have the numbers to then run onto the other side and secure the additional bounty, but just ends up being 2-2. The game is a lot more even. SHENZHEN, not like they were going to win immediately off of that, but it would have been such a huge advantage. Instead, they're going to be playing a normal time. 9 to 8 is even going to be able to run to the top lane in time with the Sakuchi to still block the creep wave, so that this Ionit, Pango doesn't even really end up suffering for having to go back to the base so early.
Yep. Living on a knife's edge right there, but getting to live, always a great feeling. Because as we all know, contrary to what you just said, if you give up first blood, you might as well just GG out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Game's over.
Yeah. It's the only way it goes. Same if you do not secure the range creep. That's Rain. Knowing that, of course, he uses Stroke of Fate to make sure that it's going towards their side. Alright, so where do you think the most kill potential is? Because I feel like there's a lot on the couple sides.
There's potential bottom for Lu and Rain to kill Drink at some point. And there's potential in this top lane for, I think, probably top again. Hara's probably the one that's in the most danger. This lane hasn't really changed. And then, you know, it's a little bit better for Kaikyo because at least now you can run up with Wraithfire Blast, maybe interrupt him, getting the jump onto Hara, but ultimately this Bane is still the one where I think he's in the most trouble. And now Kaikyo doesn't have that blink away that he had at the anti-mage, so there's also some potential pressure they can lay out onto him. Does depend a lot on how the CS goes on this next wave or so, as Kaikyo should get what he needs underneath the Sion tower, but I do think there'll be some danger on this side of the map. This mid lane though, I doubt there'll be much happening. We've seen Queen of Pain Ember just trade forever and ever and ever. We'll just wait till level 6 and then they'll start to rotate elsewhere and see what's up.
Yeah. Let's wait for us to be wrong and just one of these people in mid just dying and Storm getting dangerously close, but doesn't even blink yet. Did have a Verify and now a bottle charge to make sure that he's fine. Ashe just completely out of bottle charges, but he can pick up the water room. So Living Life on the edge as well in this mid lane, but yeah. We'll flag out this top lane as well. Kaiko actually ended up going for Wraith Band. Not something that you often say, something not on strength heroes, but it does give you more attack speed, which is always nice, but it also gives you that extra armor, which you need on Wraith King, especially early on. Otherwise, you're very susceptible up against the Weaver, strike clicks and swarm bugs.
Yep. And it's not like Iron is any slouch in the right-click department either on this Pango, especially once you start putting more points into the Swashbuckle. So good decision-making from Kaikyo, understanding the needs that his team has of him in this game. But one of the places where it's a very interesting matchup is down bottom between Lu and Seed. Neither of them have been able to find much CS in this game. They've been contesting each other, been in each other's faces. Some ink swirls have come in opposite directions. Static links have been used. And ultimately, if you look at these numbers, they're so low compared to what both teams would be happy with. And Seed will get slowed down again, but now Rain might actually end up being first blood. Does he have to GG out? Rain, oh my gosh.
He's so fine right now. I have no idea what you're talking about. He was never going to die. And
oh god.
He's taking some damage here, and Lu's gonna get his back. Need another. Oh, what was that? Was a bit awkward here. Does have another time walk forward if he wants to use aggressively. A little bit too far.
Oh, they canceled this off.
Oh, they did. Don't manage to get that. Another Ings. Alright, this has gone on too long. Just let him go, please. I feel like if you don't get the kill in 10 seconds in the laning stage, you just need to let them go. Unspoken rule, but right. Someone else here. Luke can't really join. Okay, he doesn't need to join. Rain gets the first blood, and now aggressive move forward. Make sure that Seed can't chase for the trade. That was really weird.
I'm laughing so much. I see these double creep waves on both sides just fighting each other. You know, so much farm being lost, but they're insistent. We're going to find this first blood. And YBB, though, are the ones that eventually claim it for Rain. Not the biggest deal in the world. In that situation, you know, he's going to be able to go back middle, give back the bottle. Seed is going to replenish his HP thanks to the self, but ultimately, they're still happy to have gotten that additional blood for themselves. I'm kind of surprised, though, that Lu, like you said, didn't just give up, go back to farming. He would have gotten quite a lot out of it, but still alive, still keeping his time going in this bottom lane. Overall, though, YPP aren't just happy with the fact that they got this kill, but they're happy with the fact that all their lanes are going decently well right now. Mid is really beyond just decently well. Storm is dumpstering Ashe, and he might just go for the solo kill, chasing him away for the small camp. Sonic Wave was at the ready, and this is It's probably not supposed to happen that the delta is this big between the two heroes, but Storm is doing a phenomenal job from this mid lane.
Yeah. And just the ability, it's can build of course Green Plane Shadow Strike. The ability to get rid of the flame guards on the Ember Spirit is actually a pretty big deal because of course he can't damage you as much, and he also can't really farm the wave quick. You can't push it out quickly to then go into the jungle if you take that flame guard away quickly, so worth keeping that in mind. Of course it is dodging a lot of the damage here, especially from the Shadow Strike spam, so there's a reason that this still has some CS to work with. He has Hara though. Well, he tried to help secure the rune, but now he's just helping. Surely he's gonna. There we go. Braid Silver make sure 928 has to get the kill at least. So.
Yet again, YBB get to slake their bloodlust, taking down this Bane. I guarantee every single time that they bring him down, Storm just smiles a little bit more inside and being like, yeah, man, Dota's a fun game, right? Yeah. You're enjoying yourself, I hope. This mid lane, Ash is in a bit of danger here. It might eat some damage from 928, but he does have a Remnant out. You're trying to think you bait the Sonic Wave or some bigger spell from Storm, but with 928 there, can't really do that. 928 is going back to base, so that means we have to start watching bottom because Lu doesn't have any level, so we're not going to see any Chronospheres, but Rain is the one that's worrisome. Queen of Pain showing up, getting access to Inkswell, then blinking forward. A very, very dangerous maneuver suddenly possible now. So from SHENZHEN, I would like to see them play with a bit care. But doesn't matter. Storm's going back middle. He's not done with Ash. Yeah. He's like, sorry, friend. The shellacking isn't finished. Yeah, you've been able to catch up a lot of the CS in the jungle, but you're about to see what some real power might be like. Instead, they bring down Ironet instead.
Yeah, they're taking a lot of damage here, but this is not the worst place to fight the bash. It's triple bash too, with follow-up damage. There's still trouble though. Ash makes a rotation round, should be able to get this extra kill on level 1 in Time Walk. Don't really have that available all the time, so it'll be a 1-for-1 trade, core for core. But with a bit of a different rotation here. Storm now doing the advantage of rotating top, getting a bit of extra farm there.
They're probably regretting a little bit having Ironet be the one that came bottom instead of Storm, but at the same time, now they can swap the lane with the Faceless Void down bottom. It's been going a bit too poorly against the Razor. Razor also has no farm. And speaking of Razor, going in onto Ironet, jumping in with Ash. They haven't left with December. Phantom's Embrace, though, will prevent the further chase and Rain. Beautiful Inkswell.
Oh my god!
Behind the trees, but they juggle off the tower aggro from Seed. Otherwise, the Razor certainly would have died in that situation. And he will be able to escape. That was a very nice heads-up play from SHENZHEN. They might lose Drink for this, though, and it does seem to be the case. No way to save yourself. Already have Shadow Realm committed. Oh, actually, they take off the Swarm Bug. 928 has the Kuchi in a second. Can chase for this. The Sonic Wave from Storm doesn't get the hit onto Ash, and Ash just going to TP out in front of his face. Okay, lots of odd things end up happening bottom, but long and short, we trade supports. Sonic Wave gets used. Tier 1 tower doesn't fall. And we just go back to farming.
Yeah. That's the way the news goes. Core rotation, not as successful as they were both just finally matching up with Ash there, but he's got the regional at least, so he can go ham on some neutral camps for a little bit.
Speaking of Ash, he's getting rolled on down bottom with this Rolling Thunder. Do they have the lockdown to kill him? No, they don't. He turns with the 2 hero steering chains, and he might actually find a kill here onto Rain. Oh, the up down plays with the Remnant dodges. Gets away from the Inkswell, comes back to Hero. And Seed, will he die? He seems fine. Swarm Bug gets taken away by the tower hits as well. So they barely escape.
Oh, no! You were saying? I didn't hear you there. Can you repeat that?
He's fine in the fountain, man. He's just chilling in the sauna right now, hanging out in the waters. He's chilling, man. He's having a good time.
Yeah, he just wanted to go back to fountain anyway, you know. Just didn't want to spend the TP or wanted to watch. So. Good. Ash. Illusion, always nice. Actually, oh, he didn't get it. It was denied.
Not denied, yeah. Storm denied it in front of his face.
Sometimes it's weird where it says it's denied, but it still goes to the bottle if it's happening at the same time.
I hate it when that happens.
But yeah, small rotation now. Oh, okay. They have another Rolling Thunder. Together with the East as well, perhaps. Nope. So that for now. Putting that on 928. So extra bit of control over on the Dark Willow. Easy kill.
Yeah.
Also pushing the rest of them away from this tower. The catapult's waiting away, but it's going to get taken care of now. Meanwhile, Lou's just trying to find farm elsewhere, but it's also Wraith King. Wraith King is vastly more successful than Lou. A lot of pressure, 3,500 gold, but Kaiko's in 5k and beyond.
Yep.
He's almost got that armor finish.
Because of how poorly bottom was going for the Faceless Void, and they had to shift the Void to the top lane and put Pango bottom, that did open up a lot of space for Kaikyo to practically just get free farm for the rest of the game. Doing really, really well. The Armlet's already flying out right now for the Wraith King. Deso also slated to arrive not too long from now. And that gives them potential to open up those Roshan, lots more kill threat, especially now that Hara has level 6. In fact, Hara's coming with the boys top. They were hoping to find a Fiend's Grip kill onto Lu, but seems like the Faceless Void Spidey senses are a tingle right now. And with 928 breaking the smoke, doing his job as a support, will die for this, but hashtag worth. Definitely worth it, keeping the Faceless Void alive and allowing them to bring in some reinforcements. With Chronosphere being online now, they suddenly feel a bit threatened here, SHENZHEN, but ultimately they just take the tower, they send forth the Wraith King army, very easy for them to do. And that's what they really wanted at the end of the day, more map control. They were denied down bottom, so they'll come claim it in the top lane. And YBB don't have the same kind of counterplay available for them just yet. The only way they take buildings is by winning fights, and right now they're not necessarily in the position just yet to be able to do so. We don't have the Orchid for Storm, Ionit doesn't have Blink Dagger, and we don't have any damage for Lu. So in the next few minutes, it does still feel like SHENZHEN can pretty much do whatever the hell they want on the map and just force themselves to play as aggressively as humanly possible and see if YBB are going to be up to the challenge of showing up when needed to fight them back.
Yeah. Are you seeing part of this, one of these smaller timing windows before these items that you mentioned, especially on the big mid-game damage you did, the Queen of Pain? Right? Storm needs to get towards that Orchid to get some, get a bit of extra reliable burst potential, you know, trying to get that numbers advantage quickly. But they're still going to be in a situation where they basically need everyone, or at least the majority. They need to be outnumbering SHENZHEN if they want to have a good chance at the fight. SHENZHEN, in turn, that means that they can play a little bit more aggressively.
Not just aggressively, but a little bit more greedily, because they buy a Midas on this Razor. And Ashe is farming very aggressive parts of the map. They actually want to kill him. Storm wants to reveal this Orchid really badly, but it's too late. It's too late, not just because he remnanted away, but he also has Yule's practically finished here. So suddenly the Orchid involvement, you have to find a different target. It's not going to work on this Ember Spirit anymore.
At least not easily. Lou, he's got some farming items, at least he's got the Master Command. I still really want some Maelstrom to have another way to deal with these Skelly Bros. Yeah. Taking forever to kill them just for 5 gold apiece, but now he's actually in trouble. Fiend's Grip from the trees. Kaiko's right there. Woo! He just killed their lives.
Yep.
Alright, Drink will do the trade. Will time them back out. The chain's over on the Queen of Pain. Pushes them back with the Sonic Wave and setting up for another kill. Passes now 2 kills. Ashe has to run to the cross over towards the mid. Not too far away. Iden's still chasing. There's the other Orchid. Yule's not actually in his inventory just yet.
Oh no. He had the gold to buy it, but he can't get to the secret shop because he came in through the mid lane. They end up losing everything. Lu takes a tumble, but losing Drink, Ashe, and Seed? All these heroes are fairly important. They all need levels, and especially for Ashe, he desperately needed that Yule Scepter. They get denied it, and now Kaikyo has to give up what was practically free farm on the top side of the map. He has to show up to middle just to stop YBB from pushing this tower. Now suddenly Lu, who died in the top lane, he has a little bit more space in the lane itself, but also more freedom in his own triangle, something that he hasn't really felt for quite a while because of how high up SHENZHEN were willing to play on the side of the map. And those kills just changed absolutely everything. They also failed to kill Corp. Storm was really close to dying. The fact that Storm lives there means that now the next fight that breaks out, we're probably going to have the BKB being active from the Corp. And then there's no damage from Ash. Seed doesn't really have any physical right-click items, and you're not going to get out the full drain, and you don't have Axe just yet, so you're also fairly light on damage yourself. And then suddenly it's all on Kaikyo to win all these fights by himself. Needs Deso with Link, has the omelet, almost has Deso now, but it's a lot of responsibility that he has to carry on his shoulders. Oh, game of margins, and now these margins very much favoring YBB.
Good thing is, though, for SHENZHEN is that they have a carry that actually has the ability to do this, right? He has the ability to join in on team fights. At least, yeah, I mean, for real. I mean, as long as he has reincarnation, he is perfectly happy to appear, certainly for these defensive fights. You know, keeping the Steel 1 Tower mid alive is always a very good objective in Dota because it gives you so much access and protects your own jungle and triangle somewhat. So it's a worthy goal. He's still farming left and right, and that's just something he could not have done on anti-mage. So
oh yeah, absolutely.
Keep in mind that they have at least more options. They have a carry that is not just AFK farming for 30 minutes and then still losing.
Yep. Okay, now as the Deso, Possess Mask, Omelet, and he's still farming away. His opponents, though, they want to pop the first chrono, and they're going to use it onto the Horror Bane, and now Ash, will he die as well? Phantom's Embrace out, the bashes are there. Yules is up to save himself.
What?
Oh, what a dodge with the Sleight of Fist. Gets away from the Rolling Thunder. Might still end up dying, though, has their remnants in two opposite directions. Beautiful escape from Ash. First, the slight dodge on the Rolling Thunder, and then the remnants out. Yo, Ash is... Even in this game, they might not be in the best position just yet, but he's still playing out of his mind right now.
That's insane. I was for sure like... I thought the Rolling Thunder, the stun was broken or something, because that was right on top of him, but yeah, he's still managing to dodge it.
Big
Very
plays.
crucial there. If he gets stunned, he's also dead.
Yeah.
Also, Storm is there, he's probably also dead, but he was occupied elsewhere. Sonic Wave, no rocket for this one. Eine too. Making good use of that blink here so far. Trying to slow down his push, and he's been successful so far. Him and 928 both.
This
Kaiko, yeah, Kaiko showing up means that, it's on top of that.
So, you know, Dragon Drop, we've been having... This game has sort of upended what our expectations have been, right? In terms of, normally we have late First Bloods. This series we've had very early First Bloods. And normally, in the games of Dota 2, it's very rare that at 18 minutes into the game, safe lane towers are still standing. And the first one gets taken now.
Oh yeah.
This is very atypical stuff, but it does show that both teams are not willing to make mistakes, are only playing situations where they are guaranteed an advantage. Aware of the stakes, you know, for SHENZHEN, you know, it might not seem like much, but pride and revenge, strong motivators. So for them, they really want this victory as well. But YBB, can you imagine being in their position right now, knowing not just that winning this game gets you into the tiebreakers to get into upper div, but knowing how close you are and what losing could mean. There's a lot of pressure. Yeah. You know, the team balancing on a knife's edge right now, and that balance seems good. They're close to BKB on the one side, on the Screen of Pain, and then suddenly I think they want to try and bound forward, but SHENZHEN are also starting to finally get items into Ash as well as Seed. Maelstrom about to finish for Ash, and Seed at long last will have a defensive item as he's building into BKB.
Love what you just brought up. The storylines are amazing for pretty much all of the teams here in this Division 2. I mean, no matter what happens here, YBB and SHENZHEN, both of them have shown that they are forces to be reckoned with as that fight breaks out. Bane control up top, trying to burst down the weave. It can get the time ups out though. Linked together, but with damage, it's there with the Chronosphere. Drink and Hara both are fallen, but those are just supports. Gotta be a bit careful. Used a lot to make this happen. What the hell? That's crazy. That is crazy. Trying to burst on Kaiko, unable to really find it just yet. He's kind of low on the first light. BKB from Storm. Alright, he's gonna trigger it. Less an ultimate to work with here. Okay, what the hell happened to Razor? He just disappeared. Ash is still there, getting the kill on one. What? This hell also disappeared. What the? Oh. Where did it go? It was just there.
They're hiding. Kaito's alone now. Completely isolated. Oh, nice blink.
Oh. Why is blink too now? Look at that. Iron it. Oh, don't hang around, please. Oh god, you're crazy. So crazy. Oh, the blink.
Oh my god.
Ripping with a blink though. Yeah, alright.
Oh. That was such a wild ride of a fight. That was such a roller coaster. They lost 5 heroes.
Look at some of that again.
Like with the exception of rating, of course. Yeah. So look at this damage from. You're asking where Razor went, right? Rain is the one that took him away. So watch the Grimstroke, right? And the Stroke of Fate on where he's positioned before the spell comes out. So Seed goes out, has a Spirit thing onto him, and look at Stroke of Fate just disappears him instantly. They get the silence out onto Ash. He tries to Yule's dodge it, but unfortunately, the problem with Yule's Scepter is it still leaves you in the exact same position. So you can still end up losing your life. Yep. And this Weaver ends up surviving long enough that when he dies at the end of the fight, it's like, that's fine. You wasted so much just trying to kill me that it's pretty much okay for me. And they got the tier 1 tower out of it. Like YBB, very chaotic fight, but the grand scheme of things, they do come out very happy because Lu finally got to be involved in a fight without having to worry about his own life. Got a ton of gold from those assists. And now is sitting very pretty as 3rd in net worth. Starting to pose some legitimate worries for the rest of SHENZHEN. Because Ash, not that close towards BKB, just finished the Maelstrom now. And yet another fight that SHENZHEN take like basically a minute or so before completing a key item.
I'm gonna try again here. Wraith King still 20 seconds on cooldown with his ultimate, so he knows that too. He knows that they're coming here. This is why Bane positions so aggressively. Once again, Hara is the one to fight the dust instead of his carry. Nice move from YBB, but nice anticipation from SHENZHEN as well, making sure that Wraith King does not lose his life, because level 2 ultimate still 30 seconds actually. So you can take advantage of the timing to kill him for good the second time around. You definitely should, but able to protect him this time.
I mean, everybody wins, right? SHENZHEN, they protect the Wraith King, and YBB get to kill Hara. You know, so that's all they're here for. But Hara dead again. Oh, awesome, dude. Gank successful. Doesn't even matter what position hero this is. Speaking of him,
once more in this game, 5 deaths as opposed to Hara's 4. So still some room to grow.
Get those numbers up.
Can improve those stats. Get higher numbers.
Need to increase that death MMR, and YBB are going to try and help them in this particular endeavor as they smoke up now. They have BKB on Faceless Void with Maelstrom and Mask of Madness. They found Kaikyo, but he does blink away. Rolling Thunder from Ironit with the Inkswell connects onto Hara. Will he die this time? Stroke of Fate gets dodged. Storm is going to beam him with the right click, and they've taken him out. Seed, though, gets chronoed inside the bubble. He's got the static click out, but onto the wrong target. Liu now turns his attention towards the Dark Willow. Sonic Wave kills her, and oh no! Ash came back into the fight. He comes back for Ironit, but you're going to end up regretting this potentially. Yule's up into the air, can't get the remnants out. There's a Phantom's Embrace and an Orchid on top of it. They threw out everything. Double kill for Lu, and Ash got a bit too greedy for that Ironit life. Ends up losing his own, and now suddenly there's nothing stopping them from just waltzing into the Roshan pit. They've got a date with the big man.
Right, maybe the timing wasn't there, or maybe it was just shorter than anticipated, but Lu is owning. He's doing damage. Most damage from the fight, I believe. Yeah, 2.6k, 2k from Swap. It was pretty damn good. It was kind of a weird fight. SHENZHEN losing heroes one by one. None of them was Kaiko. I mean, he gets a blink away, but he wasn't a target anyway. They know that. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Book of Dota, if you read what it says on the page about Wraith King, it's like, yeah, don't blow all your spells on his first life and then lose the team fight afterwards. Yeah. So YBB, they got that. But yeah, just engaging into the rest of SHENZHEN and then not letting them get away. A bit of a misplay there from Ash, just to add that extra bit of the extra cherry on top.
Yep. Ash. This is one of those games where it sort of reminds me of what was happening in Game 1 to Storm. where the rest of the team is like, okay, listen, mate, Seed is right now not in a position to do all that much. Has BKB, sure, but has practically died every single time there's been a large-scale engagement. You know, Kaikyo, we're kind of keep Kaikyo kind of out of the fray, similar to what they were doing with Lu's Terrorblade. So we need you to get into the opponent's face and fight them right now, while our team still might be somewhat strong, but Ash is just a little bit over-aggressive with it. Gets caught out that time around. Beforehand, you know, it wasn't you can't critique him on it when he's getting away from all the fights with like last-minute dodges, but when you start getting caught, when they have the damage to punish you for those moves, suddenly it doesn't seem so great anymore. So he desperately needs this BKB. And then when he gets to this BKB, he's going to be like, man, I have BKB Yules. I wish I had like Maelstrom into BKB and then into the next item. Doesn't feel that great anymore as well. And he might get caught top. Chrono.
Oh, he was thinking about it.
He was thinking about it.
Could have gotten him too, but he figured that surely Ash is just going to instant Remnant.
Yep.
But he didn't.
Another chapter in the Book of Buddha.
If he threw out the Chronosphere there and the Remnant did come out, it would have looked like a silly goose, you know? So can't really expect him to stick around there for a second longer.
These Sleight of Fists and these Remnants are contributing to the lamentations of Lu. He's not very happy about the fact that he's being kept so far away from hitting heroes, but he's like, whatever. And you were talking earlier about like how much damage he got out. That big fight they had in the top lane where they had that like super long chase where he was just sitting around soaking up gold and they got the tower. He got so much out of it relative to everybody else on the team.
And now it's easy on co-op.
Yeah, I love this. I love this personally. Getting this AC out means that you have some potential for more right-click damage out of the co-op, better engagement onto, there's better right-click output in general for Lu, so that you're not just contributing with Sonic Wave into the Chronosphere, you're contributing with physical damage. And Seed,
counted out by Courier. I don't know what he was doing there, but he's certainly being punished for it.
Oh no.
Plenty of control. He helps him. That was a mistake too.
Oh no! No!
They're losing it. SHENZHEN, the pressure's getting to them.
Oh no. SHENZHEN, you have the hopes of not just your own team on your back. Aster.Aries, Sparking Arrow Gaming, Team Magma, Extreme Gaming. Everyone's watching, hoping that you come away with this victory to keep us from tiebreakers so they have the easy road through, but plays like that, unfortunately, only pave the way towards guaranteed tiebreakers. Losing Seed, popping BKB, being on the other side of the map from the team. Oh god, this is just horrible. Drink now also just gets caught by Lu. He lost practically a quarter HP from one hit with the bat. And thinking about raising the hands there. Lu has been really patient with this Chronosphere. Has been holding it for a very long time, threatened a lot with it, but hasn't actually pulled the trigger. And I imagine it must be breeding some paranoia onto the side of SHENZHEN whenever they see that little cost animation. But at least they find 9 to 8 down bottom.
And whenever he did cast, he was getting pretty good ones. Like he's gotten at least 2 heroes on pretty much opposite sides of Chrono as well, which is not okay, he's got only the one now with the BKB to protect him, and that's gonna be a dead race. Immediately the back, the control is there on Drink. Secondary kill, eventually here, Kaiko just being clicked away at though. Now it's the man fight. Okay, this is a bit crazy. Sonic Wave comes in, trying to finish off Drink, and now the right click's over on Ash. Defensive Remnant forward. Or backwards, depending on how you want to look at it, but YBB. A trade. Another support here. Weaver died a little bit earlier down bottom. Well, they get a buyback and the Razor kill.
Well,
that's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, you commit bubble for that, you get back. You did use all your ultimates, so now you definitely retreat and keep farming, but you also have full confidence that SHENZHEN can't actually chase you into the uber dangerous parts of the map. Unless they find Iron Knit here. I think they have this kill. He uses up into the air, maybe not. 1 second. Can he blink? Tries to roll. He just needs to get away.
Oh no!
Shadow Realm hits, good enough. They even try to utilize this little bit of heal from the Weaver with the Spirit Vessel, but just not enough, Dragonflop. Just not enough.
Yeah, that was very close indeed, though. Much closer than it really should have been, but hey. Well played indeed. Yules, roll up. Even the right click on the roll up and pushes them away a bit, right?
Yeah. Gives them that little bit of spacing. Which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah. You know what the most hilarious interaction with roll-up is? Monkey King Wukong's command. Because every one of those hits, like, they count. So they just push you around inside of like a freaking pinball machine. A pinball machine, so yeah.
So much more.
First time I saw that, I could not stop laughing, but unfortunately not in this game.
Tangalia pinball. I thought you were gonna mention Focus Fire, which is also kind of hilarious,
That
but
too, yeah.
Wukong's pinball.
I guess Static Link could also work similarly. It's constantly pushing.
It could actually. It should and could.
Yeah.
But he's far away from the team. Speaking of Static Link, while the rest of the crew is smoked up. I don't know about this from SHENZHEN because they have now Kaikyo, Drink, and Haru together. Oh, they come across Storm. They get the grip. I think they've got him. It's a free kill. Okay.
Caught with his pants down. Scoop into all of the damage. Everyone else immediately TPing back home. Without Storm, we're missing quite the damage dealer here. Kind of need both.
Storm's getting close to having Lincoln Sphere, so that move wouldn't work in a couple of minutes. So it was a phenomenal timing from SHENZHEN to scout out that they can make that kind of move, catch him off guard. Sadly for them, there's no Roshan to claim, but they can come bottom, take an outpost, so stem the bleeding from the experience, because having lost 2 outposts, they were starting to get run up a little bit against it in that regard. But now it's okay. Now it's not so bad. And Kaikyo with 3k up on top. Look what the graphs say. There's actually a slight win probability in their direction right now from SHENZHEN.
Yeah, this 51% does not mean a lot. Net worth very even, so is the experience. This is exactly how we expect the game to go. It's alright. Dead.
Wow, okay.
That's where it gets a bit awkward. I mean, they didn't lose too much off the Queen of Pain. They had to play a bit more defensively, but they were still able to push out bottom lane, defend mid. So, like, outside of that outpost, SHENZHEN did not get a whole lot. Roshan not going to be there for a while, 2.5 minutes on that. Cool. It's certainly favoring YBB. They can stop the bleeding, as you said, and then get everyone ready to go, and then get back in formation.
They're already stacking up for this, bringing Ionit back to the tier 2. Lu just finished having the Lincoln Sphere as well completed. Double Lincolns they'll have soon, with Storm having it available as well. And then suddenly life is a lot more difficult for the Fiend's Grip from Bane. Wraithfire Blast never connects. There's no Blink Dagger from Seed, so it's hard to use Static Link. On the bright side though, Steed has bought a Freddy Pog item. Whilst he's building towards the refresher, he now has access to this Heaven's Halberd. So there's a lot of good Halberd targets here. Like even this Queen of Pain, since she's now transitioned to having this AC, her right clicks are an important part of her damage output. Removing that from play is going to make a huge difference. And of course, the impact on Lu will be absolutely massive. But sadly, Seed has often been the one caught inside the Chrono, so we'll have to see how this next fight breaks out here. Drag and drop. They're about to go at it.
Smoke and smoke action will break on the carries. Both teams know exactly what's going on right here. SHENZHEN hitting the item times slightly earlier, I guess. Shiva's Guard online, Lincoln Sphere, Storm still needs a couple hundred gold for it. So ideally, YPP wanna get that going.
Tool to teach.
Taking farm right now is very dangerous. You don't see anyone on the map. Ina trying to buy some space here. Okay, they actually see Ash bottom. Doesn't mean a lot. You can always have a Remnant. Kaiko in mid though. Flag out SHENZHEN's positioning, which means Storm is able to get the wave top and then secure that Lincoln Sphere. Now they're ready to fight.
But they're also getting there for SHENZHEN. They're getting stronger and stronger on this team. And you were mentioning it in the draft that they have this tri-core for themselves. Their scaling into the late game is rather obscene. And for YBB, you have Quap, you have the Faceless Void, but you're never going to feel safe and scary. Especially Quap always feels like she's just one bad blink away from just completely dying 100-0, no matter how far ahead you get in the game. And now we're at that super tense point where the next point of contention is Roshan. Both teams are aware of it. Both teams are aware that the other team is aware of it. And neither team can afford to give the big man up. But so let's see the next few minutes, everybody sticking around this area, except for the heroes that have the blinks and the BTs. Storm's job to push back bottom, and here comes SHENZHEN. They are not prepared to wait. They have Blink up on Kaikyo. They've got BKB with Halberd on C. They want to fight your Dragon Drop. They want to go for an engagement.
Let's go co-op down bottom, TPing back in. Now the Chronosphere catches two of the cores, trying to burst down and face the void, and should be able to do so, especially with that Sonic Wave. Kaiko, his first life, needs a couple of bashes here, but he will lose it. Meanwhile, the back, Ash is being controlled up by Storm and Iron. Damage is there. Kaiko comes back as faces void, trying to shift over towards Ash. A couple of active remnants used to get himself out of trouble. Seated by back into this. Great engagement for YBB. How do you find that chrono? Again, SHENZHEN, I feel like they've thought this one through. They were like, alright, let's push bottom with the losers and whatnot, and the moment somebody shows up, we go for a smoke. That's a great play. It's a great idea. It is the co-op though. They're still able to TP into this tier 2 tower and blink in very quickly. And then once again, 9-8. This guy, this entire series, playing Weaver, I mean, it's got to mush your brain a little bit, but he's still playing extremely well. Just always scouting, always ahead of his team, always just watching for these kind of smoke rotations. And then SHENZHEN not splitting enough against Chronosphere. Paying the price for it. Still the ones going into this Roche pit first, knowing that there is no Chrono.
Yep.
Second round looks a bit different.
It's 1 minute until they have that bubble. Ionit gonna buy them some time. Gets into the pit, past it in fact, just going in with the Rolling Thunder, stalling out Kaiko for a second. They're just forcing him into a bad position. He obviously has reincarnation, so he'll be fine on life too, but gotta remember that there was a buyback expended by Siege, so he definitely doesn't want to overextend himself. And I think they bought enough time that Sonic Wave's about to be up in 25, Chrono up in 35 as well, so SHENZHEN, unfortunately, even though they have Deso on Kaikyo, they don't actually take the Roshan that quickly, such that they don't need to worry around this pit, but they still really want it.
Yeah. Fine time for Chronosphere to come back to Kuna, but that's a nice chains here. Seed in front. Goodbye, Waver. Storm right-clicking away. That's gonna take a while. It's linked together. Kaiko just playing with Ionit right now. Where's Blue? He is there. Clicking away. 10 seconds for Chrono. Until then, it's gonna have to be bashes Ionit inside the pit. Killed off by Kaiko.
That's huge.
That's great. They don't have buyback.
No buyback on either of these heroes. Oh my god. And this is Shard as well. They're going to end up giving away. Shard, at this point, I'm not even sure they need to give it to the Raid King, but they would rather give it to the Razor indeed. So we will have that additional Storm Surge. Or give it to Ash, actually. There we go. Ash with the Aghanim Shard. He's about to build Aghanim Scepter as well. The effectiveness of this Ember is increasing now at this tail end. And SHENZHEN maintain their discipline really, really well around that Roshan pit. They don't allow themselves to get caught out of position. They also make the very good jumps, right? Smartly identifying that Weaver is the person to kill first. 9-8 gets caught out, killed, and then suddenly it's a lot easier pickings, right? They know that they're going to have the additional vision control in this fight, not worried about swarm bugs all over the place. They are the only team that had a proper obs ward in the area as the fight broke out. So great targeting. Ionit dies inside, and even though they got the Chrono and Sonic Wave back, YBB also wisely and correctly identifying that using these spells in that context would have been a mistake. Rather hold on to them. You know a push is coming from SHENZHEN at some point. And of course, it was Seed that took the Aegis. So of all the heroes that have this Aegis right now, you know, you're probably you're happiest with this, right? Because now you still have kill threat onto Ash. You still have an ability to isolate Kaiko in the fight. And you can presumably and easily see the potential of killing Siege twice in these engagements. So it's okay for YBB, but it's still a very scary place to be, especially since Lou hasn't been progressing that well in the farm for the last while now. Has been very concerned with where and where to be for the fight instead of where and where to be for the farm. So he's now slipping further and further behind this Raid King.
Yeah, the longer the game goes, the more pressure is gonna be on his back, and he realizes it too. These fights, they stand and fall with the Chronosphere, which is why he's going for this refresher orb for himself. Two of those available makes things a lot more difficult for SHENZHEN, in the sense that you can't just say, oh yeah, Chronosphere is on cooldown, let's just go. We have 2 minutes of like free movement, essentially. Not so anymore, necessarily. Alright.
So tense.
I can step on Ash as well. So he's remnants for days right now.
Yeah.
What, 5 max charges, and the chart makes it so remnants do damage, and if someone dies with within 400 range. The replenishing charge.
And he's about to crack level 25 as well. And there we go. Remnant Restore charge is even faster. So easily back into these frays. But the double bubble is out from Lu. With the refresher, has a level in his hands as well. Even building into a MKB because he knows that he does have to deal with his halberd on seed. Lots and lots of items. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is huge. Aghanims for Rain. Has now that Dark Portrait. Kaikyo is going to give away so much damage in these fights.
He's also been getting some pretty decent soul binds this game, so on like 2 cores. Double Dark Portrait potentially.
Oh god.
Mid the game goes, the crazier this becomes. Any one of these items could make a huge difference.
Okay, what do our BKB timings look like for SHENZHEN? 7 seconds on Kaikyo. We have 6 seconds out on Seed, and Ash is still sitting on 6 seconds as well, so not much protection offered in this regard. It is enough to dodge some of the initial spells, but ultimately YBB now feeling that they are at that stage of the game where if provided they can kite for a few seconds, then they can get the clean execution on all their abilities. Lu especially though, he's the only one we need to watch with this chrono. See where the bubble goes, see if it's going to be effective for the game.
Yep.
And he is also going to become a pretty big threat once we do get that level 25. Becomes a lot more difficult to kill. Highly doubtful he goes for the chrono AoE here. But speaking of refreshers, we've seen this before. The game always turns once Razor gets refresher, and they have it now for SHENZHEN. They're going on a smoke adventure.
Yep.
Let's see what they find. They only find Rainbow.
4 seconds left on the clock on the Aegis, so it's last time they could make that kind of move with that extra bit of security, so lining up well with the refresher orb. KP now on the Quab, so her right is gonna start hurting more and more too, though. Benefit of Rain being kinda low level means he's gonna be back sooner rather than later, even without buyback, so.
Yeah.
SHENZHEN can't really get too much off of this now. Too much more, I should say.
Yeah, they're just gonna have to sit back. They have the outpost claim for themselves. They're just happy with how things have gone. But Kaikyo's now backed off to farm in his side of the map, so this does mean that YBB, with the smoke they've just purchased on the Grimstroke, once he does come back to life, they can try utilize this somewhere. Abyssal Blade up now. Okay, I don't think they're going on the right side of the map to find the numerical overload. I don't think they'll be lucky enough to come directly across Kaikyo. But YBB are starting to feel a bit desperate now. Aeon does up on Ionid. They're going to try and make a move here. Where do they go? The scan isn't going to connect. Dark Willow is just there as baits just to waste their time. Although Ash is closer to them than he probably is comfortable with if he knew exactly the fact that they were smoked up, but he of course does not. And they just want the outpost back. It's good enough to reclaim map control for now, because as much as they are falling behind, it is still double Chronosphere, right? We've seen time and time again how this one spell can turn the whole game no matter what the goal lead looks like. And there's also no Aegis to play around for safety anymore.
Yep.
So SHENZHEN definitely don't want to fight, even though they might feel a little bit better poised to be able to take it.
So all of these timings that we were talking about at the start of the game, all of those are past, right? This is late game Dota, where it's a lot about these razor-thin margins that you always like to talk about. It really is the case where one misspell can mean that you lose the game.
Yep.
Conversely, one mispositioning on the side of SHENZHEN, and you get double bubbles with like too many bad targets, and then you just lose. Yeah, it's just one moment can change the game, can change this entire division standing.
Oof.
Those are the stakes. YBB needs to win if they want to have a chance at tiebreakers, if they want to have a chance at being promoted right out of the gate here. They were also a qualifier team, just impressive results all around from them this entire season, but not just from them, from the rest of the team as well. Which is why we're in this situation where we have a 5-way tie for first place at the last day of groups. or last day of this season.
Yep. Certainly not things you get every day. Oh, Ash. Oh, he got hit by the Ironed Rolling Thunder. But still, they want the bigger target. With the Chrono. It's on to 2. Will they get the double bubble here? Ash getting right click. Bubble 1 is refreshed. Will they get off the second? Not in time just yet. Lou holding the spell. Chasing up. He's trying to get the bubble, but it got dodged. Ash now inside a Sonic Wave though. Tanks quite a bit of damage from Storm, who right clicks through and gets the kill onto C. Here comes Lou though, trying to see what he can do here. They force to blink away with the Queen of Pain. Seed buys back, Kaiko respawns, going back in, looking for Lou. They get the stuns out though, and Ash, look how much right click damage this Ember is taking. It allows them to kill the Faceless Void though. A SHENZHEN buy back with Ash as well. Iron it down for the count. 90 seconds, no Lou, and they don't have the buyback available. Fortunately for them though, Roshan's not up for 100 seconds, so they're not going to end up losing in ages. But SHENZHEN, are they going to try come up the hill here? Are they going to try at least force themselves the inaugural and opening lane of Rax?
Looking likely. Large in charge right now. They've got Skelly Bros, they've got Desolator. They've got Catapults. They do not have a Face Void to worry about right now. Might not just be game just yet, but SHENZHEN's gonna get a huge advantage here. The Beatstrap over on the Pangolier as he's jumping it across. Oh no. He's still alive somehow. Not really too much. Oh god, Seed also dropping low. Ash coming in to try to finish the skill, but Seed dies first. Storm taking over as the right-click damage dealer here. Ash though finishing up the sports in the back just the same. The mid laners. It's their turn. Kaiko though. Oh, the patch here after the time. That's 928. Oh, dodging left and right. Does have another W to work with. Aeon this Prox. This seems to be a little bit too much control. One more slide of fist will do it in a second, but they've got the right clicks, and now it's just Storm. Blue will be back in a couple of seconds. Be the end of it. Again, huge victory for SHENZHEN in the kill department at the very least, even though they did not get the racks.
No, they did not. They did not. They get some pretty key kills. They get a dieback out of Ionid. They get another kill onto the Scrimstroke, forcing him to die back as well. This Weaver forced them to chase him for so long, and now they know the Aegis is up, but they also don't have Seed for 66 seconds. He's going to respawn the same time as Pango does. They need to be confident that Kaiko and Ash can take this, but they remember Ash brought back. If Ash dies here, that's it. Game might end as well. He does have a Wind Waker for protection though, but they're inside the pit. YBB, they've scouted that this is happening, but I don't know if they're confident enough that they can actually take this. Hara gets seen. YBB can't allow this to be taken. They have to stop this Dragon Drop. They've got double bubble as well. They cannot allow this. How will they threaten the position though of Kaiko? Because this Wraith King is just so strong right now.
Can't bubble Kaiko. Not by himself. We need to get Hara at least. Even then, like Kaiko, he's pretty damn tanky. Like Lou is proven to not have enough damage here. Just wailing away. If you remember that last Roach fight, was wailing away for somebody throughout the entire duration of the first bubble. First Chronosphere. Not really getting that kill. Then not following up with the second. Missing now as afterwards on the Remnant jump. Still enough of a threat for SHENZHEN to think twice about. Kaiko is an Abyssal Blade, but it's also still the Lincoln Sphere and Void, so it's a bit awkward.
Storm is 15 gold away from buyback. They can't afford to Queen of Pain to die, but they're smoking on the back.
I have no idea. BBB on the low ground. No idea where they are, so now they're initiating over on Kaiko. Gonna get his first light Queen Strip over on that. The refresher though, but Seed gets bubbled. Where's the damage? It's not there. The secondary Chronos victim can find us. He's stunned up. No BKB. He's dead. It's over. It's all over unless Storm, unless he can do it. But he's all alone. Weaver cannot really provide too much. A secondary Sonic Wave. Get that secondary kill on the Wraith King, but he buys back now. Ember Spirit, BKB, Lou. Okay, got his buyback available now. The Chronosphere comes through. Needs the mashes on the Ember Spirit. Ash still alive, getting the counter kill on Storm. That's a dieback for him. Weaver somehow still living, but I don't know for how much longer. The answer is 1 second or so.
Oh no.
Surely this has to be it. There's only Lu. There's only the Void. No Chronosphere. 30 seconds until one of the supports returns.
Oh no. Just before he got off his bubble, they started the drain against him, so Seed was taking away all his damage. He couldn't really get anything going from that. At the same time, Ash was allowed to play that fight on the edges of it. Did so much damage on this Ember Spirit, jumping in and out, forcing heroes out of position. They missed with the initial BKB charge coming out from the Queen of Pain, so she dies in the blink of an eye. She has to buy back. Nobody else has the opportunity to stay alive in the fight, and oh boy, SHENZHEN, everybody else in the division is celebrating right now because I think they might have done it here, Dragon Drop. Nobody
so
alive.
Seems impossible to take this fight. Void just did not have enough damage. He did 3k that fight. Quap did more than twice that. We don't expect that here this late in the game. Lu, okay, bashed up. Fiend script on top of the BKB. Oh, this is the last hurrah here, fighting under the towers, but he cannot leave. He cannot reset. Buyback from Hara. Dying trying to buy as much time as he possibly can, just holding on to the last bit of hope that they have, but it's dwindling faster and faster. Now it's just the Ancient. The ultimate from Seed, blinking away at it, and it's all over but the crying. That's sure to follow those. YBB is defeated on the last day of DPC China Division 2. And now we know that it is the last day, because there will not be tiebreakers. SHENZHEN dashing YBB's hopes and dreams as their last act here. Insane.
Wow.
Absolutely insane.
This game, 51 minutes. Just SHENZHEN somehow, right, identified very early on in this game that this one is going the distance, so let's prepare ourselves. We're going to get this Hand of Midas. We're going to get this Yours BKB. It took a while, but it became effective eventually once you got the Wind Waker. And we're going to keep Kaikyo out of trouble. He can show up. He's playing Wraith King, so he has the ability to come a lot sooner. But hold off, Kaikyo. Your moment will come. Your time in the sun will emerge eventually. And when it did, my goodness, just too strong to deal with every single time. To tank up so much damage. Lu just never got to that place, right? We never really felt like the Spaceless Void. In the bubble, how is it the case that double bubble isn't a threat? It's only a threat because, okay, you might have Storm outside of it throwing in right clicks, but just from Lu, wound up not being that big of a deal from the Faceless Void. And ultimately SHENZHEN not only take the win, not only solidify the placings here, make it a lot easier for what the rest of the day will look like, but they get their revenge from the qualifiers. You got here first. Guess what? We're keeping you here now. What a victory from them. That was something else, something else. Because it's not like it was an easy game. There were moments where they could have lost. They were behind at points in this game, but they kept their head on their shoulders, didn't overextend, didn't take fights frivolously. And the thing they did very differently from game 2 especially is they only fought on their item timings, and my god, what powerful item timings they had in this game.
Yeah, made the most of it. YBB, they thought they had everything covered, but they were missing that one crucial ingredient by the end. But yeah, they've had a really good game. They've certainly compared to that with what we've seen earlier. I mean, even these Chronos, they're great. They still have the damage here. Some of these fights super chaotic though. But I think they still walk away a bit better here. As I still need time to process this. I mean, the storyline in this season is just unmatched, I think. Unmatched.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the fact that we have at the last day a 5-way tie for first place, and yet the team that is out of that 5-way tie, the team that's 6th, is the one that takes an emphatic victory over one of the teams that was steps, moments away from going into the upper division. Just the competition level here in China is a bit obscene. The teams are so close. Oh, look at this fight, was so beautiful here for SHENZHEN. Whenever they found the Weaver first, the rest of the fight felt so hard for the rest of YBB. Also, as much praise as we've been giving towards 928, I really don't understand the decision to keep avoiding the Aghanim Scepter. In this game especially, how much help it would have been to have it on the Queen of Pain, allowing her to have the same double life that Kaikyo had. But without it, you're just 100% reliant on Chrono. I don't know why Lu didn't double bubble there. He didn't want to get bubbled into the BKB, but then instead it ends up just whiffing entirely. A lot of pressure going. And if he gets it, where's Storm was? Storm would have found several heroes inside double Sonic Wave, and that might have been enough, but...
Then they ended up losing the fight, and that's the beginning of the end. Like we said, one decision, one misplay can cost you the game, and that's exactly what ended up happening after a couple more desperate clashes here. I mean, they had no idea where SHENZHEN was initiating on Kaiko. And there we go. Where's the damage? He's just whacking away at Seed this entire time, but he's unable to finish him off. And then he dies instead. No buyback, and yeah, Sonic Wave's pretty damn good. Storm also with the second round. He's doing things, but still only a Queen of Pain. They need both of these heroes. They need both of these cores to be alive and to do their job if they want to win these team fights. And they just didn't here. Lu, with the BKB becoming available, trying to salvage a situation. Unable to really make that happen.
Nope, not at all. I mean, so let's talk about salvage situations. Shout out to Ash, who came back from a really difficult laning phase. I would actually prefer to put him as my MVP on this one instead of Kaikyo, because whilst Kaikyo did really great on the Wraith King, performed quite well, got the items in very decent stead, showed up at the right time to every single fight that he needed to, and didn't to the ones where he's supposed to sit back and farm. Ash is the one where, from a very rough lane, with like a 10 minutes, 1,000 gold behind the Queen of Pain or something like that, was not having a good time. The first rotations, you know, the first one went okay, but it wasn't that greatest game, but he kept making space for his team, kept creating openings and opportunities, kept debating spells as well from YBB. How many a time in this game did we see them smoke up, get out onto the map? Who do they come across? It's Ash, and be like, great. Can we kill this guy? We're gonna try, and then we're gonna fail. And then he's on the other side of the map suddenly just chilling. To the point where they'd see Ash in lane and be like, there's no point ganking. It's fine. And that just makes so much space automatically for your team on the map. Adds mental pressure to all of these supports. And his itemization, got that Aghanim Scepter after getting the free shot from Roshan. Suddenly his game just exploded at that point. He wasn't just a space creator, he's a space taker, killing hero after hero after hero. Fam, he ended the game 18-4-8 on this Ember Spirit. Just the bonkers performance here coming in from SHENZHEN.
Yeah. Turning his enemies to ash rather than just being ash himself. So, what a series. What a way to end our run here, because Snare, this was unfortunately the last series that we get to cast in Division 2. I'm kind of sad about that, even though it was amazing. It was everything we could have hoped for, but
there's a bright side. There's a bright side. No, there's a bright side. You know, we adopted SHENZHEN in the qualifiers, right? It's only poetic that we end with SHENZHEN again, with them shaking things up. So it's bittersweet, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, everything we could have asked for, and all right, still means we have to say goodbye. Not you guys, though. You guys can stick around. The next series starting soon, I'm sure. Aries versus Magma. Afterwards, SAG versus Extreme. Whoever wins these matches will move on to Division 1 in the next season. And those games will be brought to you by none other than Cryptic and Neth. So, yeah, we say goodbye. I hope you enjoyed the broadcasts. And Snare, any last words from your side?
For the final time here in Division 2, in the lower division of China, before we see these teams promoted, remember to take care of yourself. Go drink some water, go touch some grass, get some fresh air wherever you are in the world. More importantly, call up someone who is important to you, who matters deeply to your life. Let them know that they matter. Let them know that you love them, and say the words that you love them. It's very important. And of course, this is a game of Dota. There's a lot of people that might be, you know, it's an exciting game. There's a lot of passion flowing everywhere. But let's remember that Dota, at the end of the day, is about having fun. It's a game. That's the first and foremost thing. So let's not let the pressure of what happened here get to anybody, change our opinions of any of the players. They're putting on an amazing show. They're entertaining us. They're giving us a good time. So send them some love as well. Make sure that you also remember when you're playing Dota, ban techies, and always have fun. Be kind to your opponents, be kind to your team, and be kind to yourself as much as possible.
with these wise words. Once again, thank you guys very much for watching. Stick around for the conclusion of the Chinese DPC Season 2.
对吧？我们就想着
Goodbye.
趁着这个缓冲的时间，赶紧去多拓宽一下我们的英雄池之类的，因为我们一路打过来，其实套路比较单一，然后每次一被对面研究，我们就打不过了。就趁这个机会多练习几套阵容，看下赛季能不能打出更好的成绩吧。我们晚上看，一般有比赛就会大家一起看看讨论讨论嘛。我看的关注的比较多的是那个液体战队，我觉得他们现在这个班子发挥的化学反应很厉害，我很看好液体战队。